All right, welcome to Real Time Episode 5. Today, I'm back, yeah, but I'm joined by Eric. Once again, we've got another two
Hey,
man
what's
show
good?
going.
Yes, we got the double E, man. We got the E and E, so
Yeah, Boyce
it's
is
double jeopardy.
Boyce is a little caught up playing Stellar Blade.
Yeah, he's a little preoccupied at the
He's
moment.
preoccupied. He said the game was fire, and I'm just like, how can I not encourage skipping a gaming podcast to play a video game? So
Yeah,
that's why we're here. Uh, we missed last week because we were just all busy. Like I was out of town, Boyce was out of town, so it was just kind of. But now I'm back, and Boyce isn't. So there's that. We'll get the trifecta back eventually,
yeah,
and maybe once we get Christian back, we'll get the quad again. But for now, it's just another 2 man show. How's it feel
yeah.
like you're the only member who hasn't missed an episode? You gonna keep that streak alive or what?
It feels pretty good, man. I like to talk, like to stay, up to terms, and just I don't like to stay behind, and it's just good, man. It doesn't get in the way of what I'm trying to do right now. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
so.
punctual.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to be punctual too. It's good practice.
Yeah, it's funny because we're only 5 episodes and I anticipated this happening. Because when I first started this, I was like I want it to be us four, right? And then I was like, it's four people,
Right.
so if someone isn't available, we can do a 3 man show. If two people aren't available, we can do a two
Yes.
man show. It's like stuff like that. So I anticipated this like happening, but not so soon. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like we're only on episode 5. We've already had a couple episodes where people have like been missing, but and as for Christian, I'm not
Right.
sure because like he's I think he's been busy like Saturday night, so I don't know if like the timing like really works out for him. But maybe eventually,
Yeah.
if we're able to get him back, that'd be great. Um,
Yes. Yes.
but hey, it's all good, man. We're here. We showed up. We're gonna put on a good show. So,
Yeah, we got this. We're gonna carry it.
yep. What you been up to, Eric?
Just a little bit of the latest. Just doing this and that, trying to get ready for this, shoot coming up, and get a look at this location. Um, I'm excited. A little anxious. I'm anticipating, a big show up. So I just I want to be ready for that, and yeah, that's really just it. I'm taking some classes, just I don't know, maybe network. I took some classes, up in Wilmington for acting, but those kind of things are really just to meet other actors. It's a lot of fun just to meet people. Even it doesn't need to be that; it can just be something else. You just talk about the things that we like, and then you end up networking. There's always something going on.
Yeah. So have you shot anything at all for the next Void, or will this be the first day?
No, we already shot 2 scenes, and we're gonna film this one. I say 2 scenes, but they're pretty long, and after this, it's like the halfway point, you know, because the scene's gonna be more action focused. I'm gonna have more people involved. Yeah, it's just we just have like a couple props and stuff like weapons, and it's pretty like epic, man. I get caught up in like this. It's weird how my brain works because I start thinking about things like really like minuscule, like really the tiny things that are what motivate me. Right? It's not like, oh man, I'm like this. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna show off this cool mask, man. There might be like a Resident Evil, you know, like menu I want to do, or I want to show off Void with an AK. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to show people off like that image. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that alone will be enough to like motivate me because I'm like, man, I can come up with different posters off this image. You know what I mean? But it's like the weapons themselves that are like motivating me because they're so cool. You know what I mean? These classic weapons, and they clash with this armor that looks kind of, I think it looks kind of like out there in terms of like technology, even though it's, if you get a really good look at it, maybe not, but I think it looks really cool. I like that combination of things.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it because I really like the first couple of Voids, two especially.
They,
Like I feel like the improvement from one to two was like huge. So I only anticipated it getting crazier from here.
yeah, man.
How's it?
I'm just willing to meet these people, these strangers, and it usually ends up good. Yeah.
Yeah, how's it looking in terms of length? Is it going to be about as long as the second one, or even longer? Or
I think it's going to be around the same length. I wanted to say longer, but if it's not longer, it's going to be shorter intentionally. I'm going to cut out stuff, right? Because you don't want to. I know that it's kind of boring. The first, there's bits and pieces, and there's films that I like a lot. And I'm like, I'm getting bored in between these scenes, right? Like I was watching, bits of Days of Future Past, right? The X-Men, right? And no, not that one. The First Class. And I just remember
I've
there's
heard
that
that's
movie.
like
I like
what
that
the
movie a
best
lot.
one I've
Yeah,
heard.
it
I
is, and I
haven't.
like it a lot. But there's bit, yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen most of them. I've seen like maybe three out of like the early ones. So like I didn't keep up
yeah.
with that series, but I've heard First Class is like one of the better ones.
You saw one, two, and three.
I want to say I've seen one, two. I've seen X Men Origins Wolverine, and probably another
Hmm.
one somewhere, but that's about it. That's all I've really
You
seen.
got to see Logan, man. You saw
I
Logan?
No, I didn't see Logan. I saw some of the Wolverine. I never finished it, and I haven't seen any Logan because I was like, I didn't watch Logan because I
Right.
hadn't seen anything else really. So I was like, I don't know if I
Yeah.
should watch it. But I mean, would you say Logan is like a good standalone, or should I?
I would say, yeah, I would say go for it. I mean, honestly, I'm like you. Yeah, I took forever. So like, I didn't even watch it till like my senior year. And this wasn't even when I was in film school when people couldn't shout enough praises about that film.
Yeah,
But yeah, I finally saw it just because I was like, I don't know. I have a whole thing about getting into movies. They're just really slow, and it's really not. It's really it gets you into it immediately, and by like the start, you kind of understand immediately what they're going for,
mm,
and it was just really enjoyable. It's just a good film. It goes by it goes by quicker than you would think, and then you're just like, wow, it's exactly as long as it needs to be. If anything, that's like the one that you need to see. I mean the X Men, the early ones, I don't know about those. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's why I didn't really get into it too. So I saw those and I was like, I mean, they're fine, but like yeah.
and
But I feel like
yeah,
you
they
and I are kind
definitely,
of the same way in terms of like movies. Like you and I are like movie fans, right? But like I feel
yeah,
like we're both kind of like movies can be kind of boring at times.
they can be
Like
hit or miss. They can be
I
very hit or miss.
struggle with I struggle with binging movies. Like I can watch like a
Yes.
movie and like maybe the sequel, but like in terms of like people who watch like 4 or 5 movie series and like once I can't do that because I get it starts to lose me. Even if it's good, it starts to lose me simply because I don't feel like it's very passive. And I feel like with video games, it's
Yes.
like I can binge like a 6 to 8 game series in like a few days if I have
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do because I feel like I'm constantly being stimulated when I'm playing games versus like watching a movie. It's like there comes a point where I'm like it's not doing it for me anymore. So,
Yeah.
but movies are still sick though. But it's like it's not on the same level as games for me.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think that's been a highlight with the media and how we consume it because I would agree that a lot of movies they are delivered. I was started watching the beginning of Dune 2. I didn't get around to watching all of it, right? Because I had things, but
Is that on streaming now, or is
you
it
can definitely
you rent it?
the place where yeah, you can stream it. You can get it like on Amazon. I found a way to get it to it,
Oh,
and
okay,
I don't
gotcha.
I just started watching it, and immediately you can see that like yeah, there's like super fast like things to get your attention. It's just weird things going on, and they don't need to explain anything. They're just like you just got to roll with the punches and try to understand it. And honestly, I really enjoyed that because I think the big issue is the exposition and like you can't. I don't know. I feel like you can't. You have to throw things to get people. You can't just like make it be like my exposition is really important, right? Don't you agree? And like I'm getting bored already, right? I'm really glad. I don't know if they do it anymore. If I can remember, but like with Star Wars films with like the crawl,
The
I'm like,
title
man,
crawl.
I don't know how I did that. I don't know how I could do.
I'm being
I did
real.
this, man.
I don't. I'll like start to read it, and then like towards the end, I'm like, wait, what's happening now? Like I'll
I'm
start to
like,
like,
I
I'm
started
like,
zoning
okay,
out, just
how
like looking
important
at,
is this actually? And I feel like
you know,
sometimes it's not the most important because I've seen all the Star Wars movies and I
yeah,
like understand them fine. And I
yeah,
also feel like they deliver a lot of backstory and like dialogue and stuff too, and like world building. So
yeah,
it's like the title crawl is it feels more supplementary than like actually crucial.
yeah. Necessary, and I get it, right? I'll be like, I'll roll my eyes, but I'm like, I get it. It's a staple, right? It's like
Yeah.
it just comes to Star Wars. No other film does this. We got to accept it's been around forever. So I accept it for the most part, but in any other movie, this would totally kill any momentum that you plan on having, bro. It
I
might
also feel
even
like
tank
nobody
the
can
box
get a
office and all.
yeah, nobody can get away with doing that other than Star Wars. Like if you open a
Yeah,
movie with the title crawl, I'm gonna be like, dude, what are you do? Like this is you can't be like
dude.
because you already know they're trying to be like
Yeah,
and I know I get it. Like some movie universes are rich with lore and backstory that you need to know, but I feel like there are
right.
better ways of doing it than a title crawl.
Yeah, and
I don't
90%
know.
of the moviegoers are not the audience, right? Like they're the main consumers, they're the main group, and they're just they want to go and get entertained. I'm not trying to read. I
Right.
struggle to reading games. I'm not going to read in this movie. I'm trying to get into the story.
Typically, that's how I am. I'll be honest. I don't when I the rare occasion I watch anime, I'll watch it dubbed because of that. Like especially anime. Anime is such a visual like thing to me. So it's like I don't want to be caught up reading when I could be just like enjoying what's on screen in front of me.
Yes,
So it's like, and I hate to admit that. I know that makes a lot of people upset for some reason that people watch anime, and I get it. The translation isn't always accurate, and it's not the definitive way to experience it. But for me, it's what works, and so
right.
that's where I'm at. I'm like I just struggle with like reading when I'm trying to like watch something because I struggle with doing both at the same time. I'm gonna be honest. So yeah,
Yeah, if there's going to be two ways to do it, I'm going to do it the way I prefer, which is through the TV.
all
I
right.
don't even have like a manga like library. I don't think my library has a lot of manga.
Oh, me neither. I remember, dude. I was in high school, and I remember I said manga, and like everybody on the bus was like, What'd you say? Did you say manga? What do you?"
Yeah,
It was like, "Well, I was like, what? Isn't that
yeah.
what it's called?" And they're like, "No, it's manga." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm not in. I'm not in
They
that.
roasted.
I think that's why I'm not in that scene. I just feel like that fan base is so like. I'm just like,
They're
nah,
so
I'm good.
defensive.
If I do get into that, it'll probably be something I won't tell anybody. I'll probably just keep it to me because I don't feel like getting involved in that
Yeah,
that community. I'm already
I'm like,
part of the
yeah, that's just
I'm already part of the gaming community, and they're tough
yeah.
too.
They're
So
already yeah,
like,
they're
that's good enough for me. I'm good on that.
yeah. It's
But
like sometimes I'm like I'm not a part of this, and I'm like, yeah, you are.
yeah,
You're a part of the gaming community. If like when the next I know like about the Switch Pro. You don't know if you heard about the Joy-Con. They're like magnetic,
no,
and
actually
that's
no.
pretty neat, man. Yeah. They're saying it might be magnetic. They're testing it out. I mean, this was like just today I heard this, but I mean, yeah, man. It's just I got to know all the cool stuff when it comes to gaming. I can't deny it, right? It's just
Yeah,
too exciting for me. When it
like
comes to anime, I said anime, dude. They're gonna come. They're not coming for me. They're gonna kill me. There's the laser on
dude,
me already.
real time
No, yeah.
podcast is about to get canceled because of us, bro.
Yeah, dude. They're like fuck these pricks, man. I'm pretty sure anime is like one of the smaller. Like it's in a well, I don't know. Would it be considered like a niche or niche culture or like a niche like
Uh
a community?
I feel like it probably started that way. I feel like nowadays it's very much. I don't know if it's because more people came out as anime fans or if it just started to reach more people, but I feel like nowadays I feel like it's less niche. I feel like it's very much mainstream these days.
It's just more. Yeah, it's much more accepted.
I
But
feel like if
I
anything I feel
still
like it's more rare to meet people that aren't anime fans than are.
yeah. To meet people like us.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I still would put it in our favor because I still feel like people are like, I don't know, man. It's cards. I feel like the fact alone that it's a cartoon is like enough for people like me. I'll admit, man, I can be as simple like that where I'm like, I don't know, man. This is a cartoon. I already don't care.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that
We
like
say that.
like
Yeah, we're the
things like
same dudes who watch like Invincible and stuff, and just like
yeah, exactly, dude. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like Invincible was like completely like I was like I had that I was like I don't care, it's some dumb cartoon. I was like, this is cartoon. It's Robert Kirkman, yeah, sure. I mean, it's kind of exciting. Steven Yeun, I like him. But I don't know, man. I was just like, I don't know, man. I gotta check this out, dude. I think I was because Glenn was in it, and I like
Mhm.
Glenn so much, and I was like, I gotta check this out. So I was like, wow, man. I had to
Yeah,
know what happened
they
next
had a
because they
good
know
bit
those.
of the Walking Dead cast in that at first, and then
Yeah,
they killed
the
everyone
Justice
off, and
League.
I was like,
Yeah.
dang it, dude. It
As
was
soon as we
nice.
get this perfect reunion.
Yeah, it was nice hearing everybody again, hearing them together. And I'm like, oh yeah, awesome. And then I was like, oh man, well, there's that.
At least Glenn was the one that lived this time, dude.
Facts. Still
He was
haven't
still surviving.
haven't caught up on it, but I did catch
Yeah.
up on something. I will say.
Oh yeah. What'd you get caught up on, man? Can we say it on here?
We
Can
can
we
say
put
it.
a
We can
spoiler
say it.
warning? All right,
Just
spoiler warning.
I mean, well, do you okay? Do you want to? Because I know you and boys talked about this last time, Fallout. But you guys didn't really go too much
Fallout.
into spoiler territory. Would you want to do that?
We can go into that, man. I've seen it. I've seen it
Yeah,
all.
I finished it yesterday, man. I thoroughly enjoyed that show, man. And as
Yeah,
someone,
man. Right.
because I know I was curious to hear your thoughts on it because I know you're a Fallout guy. You're really into Fallout. Me
Yes.
personally,
Yeah.
I I'm not a Fallout fan. I watched this show very much as a casual. I was a filthy casual watching this show, but I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was really really accessible for people who aren't into the games because I've played a little bit of Fallout 4 and
Mhm.
I watched one of those like the complete timeline explained videos on like Fallout and stuff like that. How much did I retain from that video? Not a whole lot. So like I went into this show pretty much not really knowing a lot. And I remember like my girlfriend and I we live in a small apartment together. So like there would be times where she would like be around while I was watching it. She would start asking me all these questions, and I'd be like, I don't know anything. I'm finding it out as I'm watching. And then she's like, I'm just so used to you like always knowing stuff when it comes to video games. And I'm just like, well, this like Fallout is such a blind spot for me. I really don't know a lot. So it was really interesting getting to like learn stuff as I was watching. And I'm like thinking, I feel
Yeah.
like people who are Fallout fans are probably watching this like, oh, that's cool, seeing this represented this way, versus someone like me who's watching it like, holy crap, I didn't know this. Like it was like everything was like a reveal. It felt like,
Yeah,
and
to like
so
pull your phone up for to explain
yeah, there
that
was
like
some stuff where I was
reference.
literally like, I was like, okay, what is a ghoul? How do ghouls work? I was like, what? I was like, when?
Yeah.
I was like,
Is it
because
just because never like you don't like post apocalyptic?
that's the thing. I do. I'm a huge like post apocalyptic guy. I like zombies. I like nuclear stuff too. Like I have this
Right.
very weird morbid curiosity with like A bombs and H bombs and like the effect it
Mhm.
has on like the world and stuff like that. Like wasteland shit. Like I really am interested in stuff like that, which is why it always kind of like bummed me out that I couldn't really get into Fallout because it seemed like one of those
Or
things where I remember the
too
first
massive.
episode I asked where I was like, "What's a game that you think like you should be into that you're not?" And I said Ghost of Tsushima, which is true, but I feel like Fallout is another one of those. It's like Fallout is like
Yeah.
I should love Fallout as someone who likes post apocalyptic stuff, especially like nuclear stuff. That stuff really intrigues me. So like me
Right.
playing Fallout 4 and like being like this is kind of
Right.
cool, but like ultimately just not doing it for me as someone who's not even a Bethesda guy in general. Like I know not all the Fallout games were Bethesda, but like it's one of the same reasons I
Yep.
didn't really get into like Starfield. I played that for a bit and then put it down because it's just like that gameplay loop isn't really, it doesn't hook
Attracted to
me
you.
like that. Yeah, it's like,
Yep.
it very much focuses on like RPG mechanics and like building
Mm.
settlement building and like learning all these different things. I'm just like that's not,
Yeah.
I suck at those types of games. I'm not good at that. So like I feel like that's part of
Right.
why I struggled with it. But
Yep.
I'm glad I got to watch this show and experience the world of Fallout because I feel like that's the beauty of like at least like these some of these good adaptations we've been getting lately is like people, because I'm not used to being like on the side of like not knowing a lot when watching these things. I'm usually like a fan of
Right.
it, so I'm able to watch it and be like, oh, they did this, they did that, or they did it justice. I'm like more critical, whereas like with this, it was nice, kind of nice getting to like watch it and experience this world through another medium, even though I couldn't really get into the games. But
Right? Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
man.
You're putting it really nicely, man. I envy you a little bit, man, because I really do find I think it's one of the like the richest game worlds that you could like experience.
Yeah, that's what it like. That's what it get. Like I didn't realize how much, how deep the lore went, and how great the world building is in this show. It's like it would almost make you feel like Fallout lends itself to this the way it was handled, which is always a good sign
Hmm.
when adapting a video game to a movie or TV show because it can be a struggle doing
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
um, I feel like a mistake that a lot of people make, and I always say this. I look at, and this is a recent example. But I look at the Mario movie. I feel like the reason that was such a hit for me and a lot
Right.
of other people is because it took the source material and it adapted it, yes, but also it was like this is a video game movie. It acknowledged that
Yeah.
this came from a video game. There are power ups. There are like all these things, and it's never explained. And they're never like, oh, we have to explain this. We have to make this logical. It's just how it is, and I feel like it embraces
They didn't do
that.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah, it
they
embraces
weren't
the
too
fact
like.
that it's a video game, and I feel like Fallout does that as well. Like you even see like
Mm.
the way they use like the stim packs and like the how certain things like it's like hey yeah this will just like heal you and you're good now and like shit like that. It's like that works so
You're
well. I
okay.
feel like and I'm just like man,
It looked
and like
painful. It looked
yeah,
painful,
and I ain't
man.
gonna
I was
lie.
like,
After
ooh,
watching it, I was like I
seems like
literally
so.
installed Fallout 4 again. I was like maybe I'll give this another try, but that
That's
show man,
awesome, man.
it was
Dude,
really
we should play 70. We should get voice on 76, dude. I got that on Plus.
oh yeah. Dang,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
if
this
I
is
have that
fun,
or
dude.
not. I'll have to look at that.
People say that it's better, man. Don't worry, I'll game share. I'm just kidding. We don't promote that.
Oh snap.
I know, dude. Yeah, dude. 76. I've heard it got good again, but I don't know, man. It's still not like essential Fallout. I might re-download, but I don't see the point in playing this kind of games without other people that I know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, because you can play with strangers, but it's like I
I
don't know
mean, that
you.
might help me if we like played together or
Yeah,
something, where you like see someone like you can like show me the ropes.
yeah,
Is like who someone who knows
yeah.
what they're doing. But
Because but I really do think that four is like. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you about the ending of the show, but you can go ahead and say what you were gonna say.
All right, I'll just we can go back to that. I do want to ask. I just want to add. I do think four. I'm really glad to hear that you say that's the one you're starting with because I do think it's the most modern and it's the most. You just like it's the most accessible. But trust me, man, you'll see if you try. You go back to like I don't know if you never touched Skyrim, right?
I played like the beginning of Skyrim in like middle school, and I
Yeah,
was like, man,
yeah. That game was
that's
slow and janky to me, and I'm like, there's a sprint. There's no there's like a sprint button, and there's no sprint with the older Fallout like 3 and New Vegas. Everyone loves. I'm saying, man, I don't know if you can find a way to play that modded. I think you can on your PC, right? I would just mod that if you're gonna play because it's a little rough, man. It's a little rough gameplay wise,
if I get into
but
the
still
newer
try
ones,
it.
maybe I'll go back, but
Yeah,
we'll have to
like
see.
Fallout 4 is like genuinely fun to play. Like it is like the shooting is solid. You know, it's like Starfield. I don't think that's your issue with Starfield. I think you like the combat's pretty fun. It wasn't an issue for you, right? It's just like the
Yeah.
overall like loop
Yeah,
design.
like the loop, the design, like the lack of maps, the
Right.
encumbrance system. It was like so many different things that was
Yeah,
just more annoying than
yeah,
fun to me when playing Starfield. Even though, which like
right,
I had a
right.
good time for the most part playing Starfield. There was just those things that I couldn't get over that kind of hindered my experience. Where I was like,
And that's fine because those are I think those are kind of like normal things. Or unless you're really into space, those kind of things will just detract.
yeah. And also the
Like
way the space stuff was handled too, where it was like a lot of procedurally generated stuff, and like I feel like if it was a little bit more uh I guess they made specific places that you could go to. I feel like it would give
yeah,
more of like a true open world space exploration game versus like I don't know, it just didn't
yeah.
feel very it felt too vast for its own good and I didn't really vibe with it.
I really don't like. For me, I don't know. I didn't really have a thought, but looking back, it really is just like I like really like a RPG with like a handcrafted story and like side quests. How does that like? And then how does that connect to like procedural? I don't feel like those two belong in the same box. I really
Yeah.
feel like I would be more excited saying this is like a world that is not as big, but every place has been thought out by us, and like even the random encounters, like people run up to you, but it'll like in the older games, but they're kind of connected to a quest, right?
Yeah.
And I know that they fixed it a lot, right? But like, you remember the old days where we had game breaking bugs? That was the kind of risk that we ran with these kind of like, oh man, this guy will run up to you anywhere, so he could fall into a pit and he'll die, and so that quest is over, right? I'm like,
Oh.
man, if that's the risk, right? I'm down for that. I miss it.
Yeah, I'm not even. I have to feel like that's part of it too. I'm not really like a huge RPG guy in general. There are certain RPGs that
Mm-hmm.
like pique my interest, like Horizon, for example, is like
Mm-hmm.
one of the ones I really like, or like the Assassin's Creed RPGs, simply because they're Assassin's Creed for no other reason. But
Right.
yeah, I'm not really typically like an RPG. I typically suck at them simply because I'm not used to them. So like I'll play
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just pick a bunch of stuff up, and then I'll just like next
Right.
thing I know my inventory's full. I'm just like, oh, I guess I should use stuff, and I end up just dismantling everything because I don't properly know how to use a lot of stuff. Or like, oh, you have
Mm-hmm.
to take this to this person, they can do this with it, and then it's like there's just so
Right.
many different systems and mechanics in RPGs that I don't
And
fully
it's just, yeah,
understand. That kind of it does hinder my experience because I don't really know what I'm doing. Because most of the time I focus
yeah,
on like I'm like, oh, this story is interesting, or like the world is interesting, and I want to do that. But in order to do that, you have to focus on all these other things too. It's kind of like,
you have to
dang, that's kind of rough.
invest. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, dang, that's kind of rough.
you
That's why when
can't.
I
Yeah,
played The Witcher 3, I low key turned that thing
yeah.
down to like the easiest mode because I was like, this combat is
I
is
just,
not doing it for me, and I was
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
turned it
I
down to the
agree.
easiest mode, but even still, I never finished that game. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. Every time I hear about that game, I'm like, I don't know. I really don't. I feel like the story, it wasn't enough for me. I don't know if I didn't commit enough earlier. I think it just might be I don't care that much about fantasy and
oh,
that
same.
world, but the praise is just so high, but the combat was just so boring. I don't know. I don't remember games that came out
I
around
don't
that
even
time,
think it
but
was
I mean,
boring. I just think it was hard. I could
yeah,
not get used to it. I don't really have that issue with games. Typically, I would play a little bit and I'd be like, okay, I get
uh-huh,
this. But with The
yeah,
Witcher, when I was first learning the combat, I literally was like, okay, this is a little, okay, let me get used to this. So I literally stuck at like the little training section that they put you in, where you can like practice combat.
yeah,
I stayed there for like 20 minutes or something like that, trying to get used to the combat. I was just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna go out and fight and see if I've learned a thing or two. When I was out there, I got
right,
to the first boss fight, and I was like, "This is a struggle. I don't like this
yeah,
combat at all. I cannot get
yeah.
behind this."
There's a lot of dodging. I think I did a lot of dodging. What I remember, and like casting that Igni the fire one, I just kept leveling up the skills. I could probably get back to it eventually, but I do feel like it's one of those games where you beat like for me, it would take more than like one session. When I say session, I mean like investment, like like this amount of time. This is the game I'm focusing on right now, and I tried, but I really understand you when you say that because I've been trying. I When you said that, I really immediately thought of Fallout One right now because I
Hmm.
was just playing that right now. I was just like, hey man, I have access to this right on my deck, right? And so I'm like, I got that trackpad. I don't know. I'm just like I'm using the mouse and I'm trying to look through. I'm like, I have no idea how to play this game, man. And I'm looking at the menu, and it really is very turn based. But I'm like, I gotta learn, I gotta play this, man, just because
Yeah.
of the show. 'Cause it's so good, right? And I've already played like all the others. These are I know like what happens for the main most part in these games, but I feel like it's one of those games like Super Metroid was, but that was a lot more accessible, right? But it's one of those games where I got to play for like history, right? I feel like games are they're more accepted now, but they're still not like super like the mainstream, right? They are, but they're not, right?
Right.
But I feel like in another 10 years, what do they call the Criterion Collection for movies? They're going to
Yeah.
add games to that, right? And Fallout
That's
One
I
will be
mean
one of those
that's
games.
if video game preservation is where it needs to be in 10 plus years.
Yeah, if we do get fingers crossed, right? We do get like a really cool kind of like some service that's like promotes it in like this cool, attractive way. That's like, man, cool vintage. Look at this Criterion, or I don't know if it'll be called that, right? Like Criterion Collection for games, right? But they're gonna have games like Fallout 1 will definitely be a part of that, right? And that like those other games that we like, like Witcher 3. So it's like I got to give it even Witcher 2, man. And that I don't know, those games are really dated, but I don't know. Fallout 1 doesn't like these older games don't they're not dated in that way. I feel like they're just really I don't like turn based like that. And like you don't, man. But I also gotta admit, man, I got Midnight Suns yeah, like the other day.
The
Because I was
card
just
game.
like, man, I like the card game and I like Marvel characters, right? So I'm like, man, I got to and I kind of I got to be a nerd about it, man, because I did get Ultimate Alliance again, and it's not that bad. It was just because I had it on my Switch and I couldn't see shit on that screen, so I was like playing the older ones, like 1 and 2, and I'm like, yeah, they're not that bad. They kind of slap, man. So I'm like, damn, dude, they have those mechanics like you talk because every character you talk to, they have specific dialogue with the villain there. They'll like reference you specifically. I think that's really cool, and I'm a huge nerd for that stuff when it comes to Marvel and like superheroes in general. But this game is loaded with that, and it's a card game, but it's really not that. You think it'd be hard, but it's actually really. It's really not. They explain really easily, man. It's like I don't know if you know about XCOM or anything like that. Like you've ever
Like that.
tried those games,
Yeah, I've never played XCOM, but it's like one of those strategy games, right?
but it's not enough to tempt you, right? Because it's just cards. I don't care. That's
Yeah, I
fine
know.
too. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm just not really like I'm not smart enough for those. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just don't typically play those
Yeah,
types of strategy type
I gotta.
games.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense with what you've been telling me about how you like games because you get into it, and this is like the most passive game. Like there's no combat like in the conventional way, right? Where you get that immediate rush.
Yeah, I
Like
think
I
that's
need to
part
hit
of why
this
I think
thing
it
right
has a
here.
connection with why I struggle to get into tabletop games too. It's like the same kind of thing. It's kind of
Yeah,
it takes a lot of patience, and you
yeah.
don't get that immediate gratification. You get it in the long run, but I don't. Sometimes I don't
Mhm.
feel like I have the patience for that. So I'm saying, no, I'm good.
And that's the big issue that I feel like people. That's why Baldur's Gate 3 will be fine, all that. But if people said, "Oh, Fallout 5 is going to be Baldur's Gate 3 style," people will lose their shit because they're like, "Nah, man, we want to destroy stuff, you know."
Yeah.
We want to like you. Dude, there's this gun called the Fat Boy, and it's like a nuclear launcher, and you just
Oh,
shoot that thing.
isn't that what
It's
the bomb
so
they dropped on
it's.
Hiroshima?
I think so in the in real life. No, no,
Yeah,
no,
in
no,
World
no.
War
This is like
II, right?
a yeah. I
No,
think it is,
I'm
dude. I
saying
think
it
it
like
is
that.
an
I think
atom
it's
bomb
named after
launcher.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. The Fat Man. I think that's the name of the gun, and or there's like another one too, but I'm gonna assume it's called the Fat Boy. The Fat Boy is what it's called. That thing is like the most satisfying thing to shoot, dude. And like they did a good job, like Bethesda, and like they did a really good job. I was gonna say and Obsidian, but I think it's really just Bethesda. They really did a good job adding like RPG kind of mechanics, but still being not turn based. It's just like that kind of stuff where like you say where I go to Bloodborne and I'll play and I'm like, man, how do I level up? Like, oh man, you gotta like think about all. Oh man, there's dexterity and then there's strength and then there's percentages and then you got to move this to 20. You got to get everything to 25. I'm like, yeah, that's just like it's a lot like a lot, you know. And like for what was turning into, I just wanted to jump into this game and give it a spin, right? Just give it a play through. You're just like, nah, man, I don't have time to read all this stuff, you know? I don't have time to go on Google. It's like learn this like skill tree.
Right. But I mean, to each their own. I'm glad you're having fun with those. And I know a lot of people do, but I just don't see myself for really good. And maybe when I'm like an old man, I've like just like played everything there is. I'm
This
just
is
like,
appropriate.
I'm just like, man,
This
screw
is
it.
fitting.
When I get old, I just get into like Civ and like card games. And I'm just like, that's a
You're
day
gonna be like the
that
old
I'll.
man in the you're gonna be the old man in the Disney, like the Pixar, you know, the playing chess. This
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
you in the
that's
park. Yeah.
oh man. But yeah, dude, like Fallout was so cool. And I wanted to ask you, like, because it seemed like the ending was setting up something. Like they showed.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be Vegas that they showed at the end? Because I know you would know. Like I feel like you have a feeling like of where they're
I do
going.
think so. I gotta look at that scene again, but I do think that there's been a lot of teases towards Vegas, and they like mentioned Shady Sands, and I just know that like when I mentioned the Shady Sands thing, like I know they're paying attention to the lore and more, and they did an interview recently where they were saying like, "Hey man, we care about New Vegas, like we're," and I don't know, just the amount of
Yeah, I saw a
focus you
lot
put on
of
that, like the
fans
answering.
seemed upset that they. It seemed like they weren't, like they were retconning something or other. I don't really know. Like, what are you
Mhm.
like? Did you feel they were
Oh yeah,
disrespecting the lore, or were you like how do you
I
feel
feel
about
like
that?
they're not. I feel like that might just be like a little goof. I think that for me, I really don't. I'm happy that Fallout's on TV and it's good. You know,
Yeah,
I think that those kind of things aren't, and if they are, you know, but if they aren't like little goofs, and they're like saying they're making a statement about this is the world that we're living in, right? This is the kind of Fallout, like this is the kind of Fallout that we want to make, and you can either come on board or they don't have to watch, and I'm like that's fine. I don't really care.
yeah,
They showed the armor. I mean, they showed the mask, the helmet, the awesome like gear, like on that the father and son. So I'm like, I don't know how much more of like that you want. They can mess up the years all they want. If I can see those stories being implemented and being told successfully, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but I know that voice will know what I'm talking about, especially that stuff with the vault, right? And it's like hinting at or teasing, especially if you play like New Vegas. Like this is a teaser or a hint for anybody just listening. Play New Vegas and do that specific vault side quest, and you're gonna like watching that plot. You'll be excited because you're like, I see where it's going, right? But I mean, getting caught up in these kind of things is just I don't know because like they didn't they already didn't like remake Fallout 3. That would have been like the first mistake, right? They were like, we're gonna do what we should do, which was my first thought, which is just anthology, right? I don't even know if this season two Eric is gonna be following these same characters, right? Because that's what Fallout is. It's like a new game, a new backdrop, right? A fresh start. I think that I would be upset, right? A little bit. It'd be very bittersweet if I really like Lucy, especially if we didn't get to see her. And Juan Galin's such a great actor. I mean, we got to see him again, right?
yeah. No, I'm gonna
But
be honest. I know you guys brought up the idea of like an anthology, which I could
yeah,
see fitting, but also I feel like
right.
clearly they're for one, we got attached to these characters, right? And also it
Yeah,
feels like that ending. It's definitely setting up these characters' stories. They aren't resolved,
right.
so it's like even if they did go
No,
the
they're not.
anthology
Yeah,
route, maybe we bring in some new
yeah.
characters and we follow them, but then their storyline intersects with the others. I don't really know. I would much
That
prefer
would
if they
be
just
cool.
kept the same
Right.
characters because I feel like sometimes that can be kind
So,
of hard because like I always think of like The Walking Dead, right? The Telltale series.
mhm,
You know how
right.
what was it, A New Frontier, where you play as a whole nother guy, you play as Javier, and like his whole thing,
Yes.
and then it's like
Mhm.
yeah, we meet Clementine and she's part of the story, but ultimately if you look at those four games, A New Frontier just feels like it doesn't
Out of place.
fit. Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, you got to really commit to uh keeping keeping it all together versus
Hmm.
having it something feel foreign or separate or forced. So I do worry about them going that route. If they do that, I would hope they handle it well. But I would honestly prefer if we just keep with these characters because I actually am very interested in their stories. Um, but I
I
mean, who knows?
I
I
like
try. I
that.
trust the writers. Like with this show, I trust that whatever they do, it'll be the right decision because they clearly care about Fallout and the source material, and they know what they're doing. So it'll be cool.
Yeah, I trust them too, and they're gonna do a good job. And I think that honestly, I feel like they do need to spend a little bit more time. But honestly, if it's even just like 2 seasons and then we move on to new characters, that'd be nice too. But it's either I agree, it's either that or we just stick with these characters because I really do like them, and there's so much more you can tell with one group, and seeing them grow is also really exciting. Kind of like seeing Rick, you know, and Michonne and them.
Yeah, like you were saying, I feel like an advantage that the show has is that like Fallout is very much kind of like the games are different from one another. So rather than having like The Last of Us is an adaptation of a story, whereas like Fallout is the adaptation of a world. So it's like you put the world of Fallout, but you get to tell a whole new story, which is I think is very very much an advantage. And like I said, clearly these people, they care a lot about the world of Fallout and the lore, and they're providing TV viewers and also fans of the games with a pretty dang good story within the world of Fallout. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm just glad I finally get to experience Fallout, even if it's not through the games. So
Yeah, me too.
I mean, other than that, like I've been playing. I started up replaying Life is Strange. I'm gonna try and play through those games and get the platinums, because I haven't played those games since I was like late middle school, early high school. So I'm looking forward to like replaying it. As of right now, it's like I'm playing Before the Storm, which is like the DLC to the first game. I never finished it, and I'm playing through it now. And I'm starting to remember. I'm like, dang, I remember why I didn't finish this. It's kind of boring at times. I ain't gonna lie, but
What got you back into it?
For one, they had that remastered collection. I was like, I haven't played these in a while. Because I don't. It's one of those games that I've played, but I don't really have much of an opinion on because I don't really remember much from my experience. So I was like, I'll replay this. I don't remember hating it, but I was like, I'll replay it and see, so I can I'm a lot older than I was when I first played it, so maybe I'll have more to say about it. So I picked up the remaster collection. I started replaying it, and plus they're easy platinums, so I was like, screw it, I'll go through and get the platinums for them. But it's been all right. It's been fine. Have you played the Life is Strange games?
I've heard about them, but I know about some of the things through YouTube, and I don't know if it's just like a coincidence, but like RDC, I watched them. Sometimes they were just playing that game, and so I already know like a huge spoiler that I don't know if I don't know. It was interesting to me, but yeah, to me it's just like too old. It's a perfect game to watch on YouTube, but I'm like,
It is, yeah.
there, there's already too many like of those kind of games too that I wouldn't even pick this as my first. If anything, I would try to. I don't even know anything about the Expanse, but that's like the newest Telltale one. Even that I just look up on YouTube because I'm curious to see how they've been managing. Right, they pushed that whole Wolf Among Us to like what this year now it's supposed to come out. Right? Like they haven't announced, but I know they've been working forever on that.
Yeah.
And I love Batman. And I'm like, man, that had a cliffhanger too. So I'm like, there's a third one that I don't know if that will be made, but the company's back up. So, if there's one that you should try out the Batman one, dude. That one's not. That one's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I will. Funny story behind that. I started playing the first the Batman Telltale series, and one of my younger cousin came to my house. I remember I don't know if I was home or not. I think I wasn't home, but he played my PlayStation and he started playing that game.
Brutal.
He got to a point where I didn't even know where I was anymore. I started up the game and I'm like, dude. And I deliberately told him not to play it. I was like, you can play this game, you can play that game. Don't play this game, though, because I'm playing it.
Yeah, that's the one, dude. That's the one.
And, he played it, and he got, I don't know what he did or how far he got, but he got to a point I didn't know what was going on anymore. And I was just like, dude, I was so mad. I never played it again, but I didn't get very far.
Oh, really?
I was still on the first episode, I'm pretty sure. But I was pissed, man. I was
like,
oh my God, are you kidding me? But it's still in my... Oh, yeah, no, it wasn't anything like that. But, I mean, it's still in my library right now, so, I could play it, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
I did that. I was like, man, I love this game. I love Batman. And I was like, I love the Telltale. And then I was like, yeah, dude, there's a lot of talking, dude. When is this cutscene going to end?
No, dude, that's the thing. I'm weird about Telltale games, man. Telltale, I can acknowledge they make good games.
They make you do all that shit, dude, where you walk through the room.
Man, yeah, dude, that type of gameplay. That's the issue I'm having with Life is Strange while playing that. I'm just like, this is kind of lame sometimes.
Move on, bro. Get it.
And I'm partial to Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead. So those games, and even those games, sometimes I'm like, man, But I
It's like those
played through all those
old
games. I
clicking.
love them. And I
Yeah,
know Wolf Among Us is. I've never played Wolf Among Us, but I've watched multiple people play it on YouTube, and that game is fire too. But it's that gameplay, man. Sometimes I'm just like,
yeah.
it's
Like,
rough.
dang, I gotta go. I gotta go here now
Yeah,
and do this
I'm almost tempted to
exposition.
be like, dang, maybe I should just watch like someone play it on YouTube, and so
Yeah.
there's like the commentary and stuff. But
Yeah,
I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy.
dude.
So
Right. You got to do it yourself, dude. Like, I made that
exactly.
choice, and it's like, yeah, you got to do it soon because if you wait by a sale, that game will most definitely be spoiled by like a random thumbnail
Right.
by some Jacksepticeye video.
Top of the morning to you, ladies.
Yeah. I don't think we've really had one that's like really taken advantage of our tech yet, man. So like, yeah, those are definitely we need like a new point and click adventure that's just like
It's gonna be Fizzant, bro.
super
Hideo Kojima's gonna come out with a
fizzing.
point and click. It's gonna be like a movie.
I'm like, yeah, dude. I keep hearing. I'm like, hold your expectations in place, people. Chill out with this. Is spiritual successor to Metal Gear, dude. Metal Gear's still coming out, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Spiritual successor. It's gonna be like a spin-off to Death Stranding, where you're a mailman with a gun this time. I don't know. It still sounds fun, dude. I'll try it out.
Yeah,
Sliding around
there's
in a
no telling
box.
what that game's gonna be. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's straight up live action. You're just playing live action, bro.
Hideo was like, I'll be honest with you guys. He's on the stage. He's like, I'll be honest with you. This whole time, I've been experimenting with LSD and acid. And I'd be like, that explains everything. Keep making the games. I don't care. I love experimentation. We already have like 8 other or 9 other developers with my eye. You know, Wolverine's gonna keep me entertained for 3 years. Come on, Kojima, say something. No, he's not. He's not listening to this. He's too busy.
Right, he's a busy man. All right,
Yeah.
we should get into our topics. We gotta list things. First off,
Yes, sir.
did you end up copying Tales of Kenzera Zao?
I did not yet. I'm going to wait for a sale. I wanted to support it, but I heard some things, and unfortunately, Eric, I think for us, it's one of those things about you just jumping around and not enough to grab you at the beginning.
Mhm.
That combat is just. But I will pick it up eventually.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I didn't either. I think I'm still
Mhm.
sticking to that whole no new games this year. I'm still kind of holding
Yes.
on to that. Um,
Yeah.
but no, I wanted to like highlight it because the dude, for one, my
Yeah.
boy, voice of the one and only Bayek of Siwa. Uh, Amazing
Yes.
performance in that game, but also just how passionate he is about it. Like
Yeah.
how he was talking about how he went from acting to like game dev and didn't know anything about game dev
Yeah.
and was just like, I can make a game,
That's
let's do
really
it.
that's
So I was
motivating as
like,
hell, man.
yeah, and
Very
I was just like,
impressive.
that's awesome. And I feel like this game deserves my support. Even as someone who doesn't really play a lot of Metroidvanias, I do want to definitely
Yeah, man.
get
And
this
just the
game
voice of
eventually.
Bayek, dude, from your
Yeah,
favorite
man.
franchise ever, Assassin's Creed. It's bad. Dude, he got so much acclaim for that. I looked up like clips from that game because I was like, damn, dude, I gotta know. I gotta like see how he performs. And it's just
Yeah,
like
man. You know
it's
how
not
like
easy content.
certain
It's very tragic.
performances just bring so much life to a character, like to where that character is like
Yeah.
a thing on its. It's like you look at Ellie for The
Yeah.
Last of Us, or
Hmm.
Bayek, or there was another character I was thinking about, Arthur Morgan, John Marston, even
Yes.
like like certain characters where it's like their performances are so
Right.
good that those characters they're no longer characters, they're people. They're people at this
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like Bayek
Yeah.
definitely falls under that. So
Yeah, and to do that with like a game from this company that even at this time, Ubisoft they experiment, but like we don't look at them. We look at them as like business first. We need to get the
right,
dollars from your pockets. They were able to deliver, and I mean it was all thanks to this guy. They cared enough to find good performers, and they found a really good performer, and it's this guy who's. I mean, I know. I really hope that he makes a sequel, right? Because I do feel like when there's people with passion, there's going to be possibilities. And for a first game to be like pretty okay is really
yeah,
good.
especially
Especially
with
from somebody who just learned.
yeah, who just started, has a small team. Like I feel like
Exactly.
from the way it looks, the game is pretty dang high quality. all
Yeah,
things
and I know
considered.
I sounded
So
like I sounded sort of, but like I definitely want to try this game out. I feel like it's the perfect game to try out on
yeah,
PS Plus eventually, or just. But I know that I want to just because of this guy and
yeah.
how he talks about his relationship
It's
with
not
his
really a
father.
full price game either, is it? It's like pretty
Yeah,
cheap, I think.
no, no,
So
yeah, yeah. So there's no real excuse to not get it to support them. But me and I mean, Eric's taking this oath, and I've low key kind of taken it as well. And I just been, I mean, my whole
it's
thing
the
is
it's the
just,
year
I
of the
got,
backlog. Yo, let's
yeah,
go,
man,
man.
I got to, I mean, I already got, I mean, like, I really shouldn't have. Sometimes I just, break the rule, and, when it comes to Marvel, and I just, I saw
Of
this
course.
ridiculous price. I was like, I got to get this, right? I mean, I would be a fool not to, right?
Dude,
And
if we were
it's on the go, too.
yeah, man,
Michael Jai White's in it.
if we were out here getting
He's
new
Blade,
games,
dude.
man,
He's so cool.
we'll be out here like boys, bro. Like just
Exactly,
playing
dude.
Stellar
Boys out
Blade.
here playing Stellar Blade Brand day one. I really hope that game is going to be on sale soon. I don't know if it is, but it's kind of the same story, Really good. Yeah, a really, really good first hit with the combat. I know that Boyce will probably sing praises. He's going to have all kinds of things to say, right?
Yeah.
But I think that game might be up our alley, dude. It's like light on everything but the thing that we need the most, which is that combat, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just need
especially
to
with
cut
you.
things up. Yeah, you just slice things up, man, and just bow and just we need a new Metal Gear Rising too, man. We need a new Ninja game, like a destruction one, not like a Souls Precision, I don't know if you guys. This is a major throwback. I don't even can't believe I remember this. It's based on an anime, right? This little thing called Afro Samurai. There was a demo, and man, this thing was gory as hell. But its like its whole thing was like precision dismemberment, and I was like, man, I would love to play that game. I never did, but
Yeah, I never have. I've
still,
heard of it, but I've never. Yeah.
I'll
What
see if I can
generation was
find
that, man?
something about it, man. This is probably like 2009. I want to say,
Oh,
dude.
okay.
I know it was a PS3. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I know it was that era. Man, just like being too young, and I go to my cousin's house and we play all these. Or I'd watch him play Fallout 3. Even there's like that system where you slow down. I don't know if you've seen clips of that where you slow down time, you just blow people's brains out,
Yeah.
and yeah, dude, it's like the bloody mess perk. That is, have you seen that joke around how people saying the show is like they turn on the bloody mess perk because it's so gory?
Yeah.
I think that this show is really good because it's like a lot like The Boys. It really does have a lot of like the same kind of DNA. There's like a lot of humor. It's still pretty serious, but it knows when to like be like, okay, it's gory, but it's not like excessive. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, I've seen like edits and stuff too of like the Fallout show and people making like putting it in like the game. And they'll have like the
I
HUD and
was thinking like,
everything.
yeah, dude, they're gonna pause time for like the dialogue, and then they resume play kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
stuff like that.
I gotta see that. I was thinking, of
Yeah,
course.
it's pretty funny. I'm like, dang, this. That's how you know this is a good adaptation. When all you have to do is just add the
Yeah,
HUD and it just looks like the game.
that's I gotta look that up, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I gotta look at those.
But yeah, man. This next topic, I feel like you'll have a lot to say about this. The Delta, the Nintendo emulator that's on the App
Oh yeah,
Store.
yeah, man, that's
You gonna
pretty
utilize that
monumental.
or?
Yeah, man, I already kind of did. I got like a Pokemon Green Leaf, which is like one of the first games I ever got for like Christmas when I got my Game Boy Advance SP, man. And I freaking loved that game. And I don't know, I just thought about I gotta get this, man. And I don't know, it's just like Apple's finally opening up to emulation. So I mean, if you have one of those game pads or whatever, you can use that like right off the bat. I mean, I don't know. I was like, hey man, I might play Resident Evil 2, right? Because it supports the Genesis, the N64, uh, the NES, it supports basically all the Nintendo old ones, right? And I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure that any day we're going to hear about a PlayStation 1, right? It's going to be called like PSX or something cool like that. And, man, this should have been there from the beginning, but now we do. It's just like, I mean, what else are we going to start to see, man? This, like, Are we going to see Apple like opening up doors to maybe a deal with Nintendo? I don't know. Maybe, let me stop. This isn't even about Nintendo. This is some random emulator, but still, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Just
isn't
thinking
it?
about
Because
that.
it's also surprised because isn't I don't know a lot about this stuff, but like isn't Nintendo like hardcore, like very
Very
protective
much
over
on
their
their own.
stuff? Like they're
Yeah,
like, nah, we don't want any emulators. Didn't they recently shut down an emulator like a few months ago? That
they did the Switch one.
yeah. So I mean,
That
yeah,
one made more sense to me because like Metroid Dread came out like last year, and there's people out here posting on Reddit like, "Look at me playing Metroid Dread on my Steam Deck." And I'm like, "Yeah, you can't have this out here." And it's like if you're a Nintendo rep, you're like, and you see that, you're like, "We got to get this shit off." It's like if I had Xbox, like, "Hey man, look, I'm playing Spider-Man 2." Like, the hell, bro? Get out of here with that, right? So
yeah, dude.
I think
Nintendo's
that's
legal team will ruin your life if they get you out here.
no, they will fuck your shit up, dude. And like I was like upset at first because I have a Steam Deck. I don't do that shit, right? I'm just allegedly right,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like to see that kind of stuff, I'm like, man. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, they would be stupid to do nothing if they saw this and were like, okay, no, I'll be like, you're a fool. You don't deserve your company, right? But they're doing what they need to do. They do everything right. But they do. I mean, Super Mario Run wasn't that a game that they made for iOS for the iPhone? So I know they've done things with the Apple before, but I don't know if they're going to extend that, right? But I find it interesting that of all the people that they can do something with, it's been Apple, and I don't know if that means any future deals, but I know that Apple still really wants to get in on the game market. That's why they have like they always try to promote their at least if you go to the Apple store, there's like a section like it's pretty small, but it's still there, right? With all older game stuff. And I mean now they have a headset and it's not doing really well right now. That's what sales are saying, right? No real surprise there. They're gonna try to make a new one hopefully and then slash the price. They'll never do that, but fingers crossed, right? But I say that because I don't know. There might be. They might. I know they're still interested in doing that, and that just makes me think about Apple and what kind of gaming possibilities we have there. You combine that with Nintendo. What with the talks, and I haven't really listened to a lot. I just know that they're trying to upgrade the tech a little bit with the Switch. I don't know, man. Crazier things have happened, right? 10 years from now, probably not, right? These
10
these
years
are
from
two of
now,
the
they'll be
most.
releasing the Switch 2 OLED edition.
Yeah, dude, exactly. There's gonna be the Switch 2 Mini, the Switch 2 Lite. Oh my god, dude. But no, dude, I'm over here just trying to. It's completely never gonna happen any of this, right? But because these are two of the most exclusive, you know, protective of their IPs, right? I mean, you can't open Macs at all because they want you to go to the store. You can't do these kind of things, right? And like I don't know, expect there to be this kind of continued, and it really is like I don't know. I've been like listening more to these podcasts. I don't know, just reading more, researching more. It's just like Fortnite's so huge, man. There's been like this. It's kind of dumb. But it's like a debate about like whether or not Samus should be in Fortnite, and it would only be on the Switch version, and it's just like these complications, and it's just like at the end of the day, especially the younger the kid, right? They just want to play with their friends. They don't care about all these extra. Oh, we can't play on this console because they're like, I don't. That's dumb to me. I want to play with my friends, and I want to use this skin, right? So there's already been more discussions about exclusivity as a whole, right? And like, I don't know, man. That's Nintendo's bread and butter, right? And I don't know, like Snake, I used to love because for a part, it was a small part, right? But part of my childhood, he was exclusive to PlayStation, man. He was like an icon, like an emblem for play. He was like using PlayStation. They used to do these really crazy trailers where they used live action actors like Kratos and Snake was there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now it's like no, dude, Snake and Kojima wanted that. He's like, I love that he's on Xbox. I want to promote. That's good for me. It's good for Konami when he was there. It's good for Kojima. It's good for like business, right? To have more people have access. So I don't know how Kojima's saying things like this. I don't know if that means anything to Nintendo, but I don't even know where Nintendo stands today. I know their games have been really good, but the same complaints that were said 5 years ago are being said today. I would assume, right, about how people want prettier and better performance. I think they're fine, right? But I know that with that little tidbit of news, it already gives you enough insight, right? That they are paying attention. They know that they need to raise our eyebrows a little bit with the tech that is presumably, italics up in the air coming out next year, right? And I think that's crazy, So I'm hoping it better be good, man. It's got to bring something to the table, and you can already bet that they're absolutely going to have like a game of the year contender day one, because they would be foolish not to, man. With like the huge success that Breath of the Wild brought them, that was like a system seller. That's the word you use, right? It was a system seller. So I don't know if Metroid Prime 4 is. I don't even think that is, dude. I think they're gonna have to really. There's been talks in the wind, man. I know you don't care about Zelda, but this is really out there. Like Ocarina of Time, like really Unreal Engine, basically remake is like talk. There's been like words about that. I don't know if that's any validity, but that's what I would envision for Nintendo.
Okay, question, man. As someone who's
Yeah,
like a huge Zelda fan, do you think
right.
Ocarina of Time? And I know you're very much like if a game's dated, you prefer to have a remake, but there are some people who are
Yeah.
hardcore like classic, like certain games just shouldn't be touched.
Yes.
When it comes to Ocarina of Time, do you think that game can be remade? Do you think that it will retain that magic that so many people felt playing that game?
Here's the thing, Eric. Those people are no longer alive. No, I'm playing. Dude, I'm playing. That game is too old, man. This Nintendo 64. We gotta remember, dude. We're talking about like kids that are younger than us that are going to buy Zelda, right? Like middle schoolers buy Zelda. They play Zelda. They beat Zelda. They don't give a shit, dude. For them, it's like hearing a bunch of oldies complain about, like us hearing dudes complain about, man, it's nothing like the Sega Genesis. I'm like, ain't nobody played the Sega Genesis, bro. Do you have a freaking Super Nintendo? Like, I'll play that for free on my iPhone now, man. That's the amount of respect I have for that. It's time to make out with the old and make up room for new. And there's always going to be comparisons, man. Look, I personally, I like the Last of the Show, but I wasn't like one of those people that's like, man, it was like a godsend, right? It was. I thought it was good, right? But it wasn't like I thought
It's
Fallout
not
was
the
better.
game.
I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the game. The
Yeah.
game did it better. The game just did it better. It just did. It just did. And Fallout it's more original. You can tell an original story. That's a different kind of debate. But like for me, I'm like, look, you gotta let there be, innovation, right? And that's why I was pleased. I was pleased with the Fallout, with the Last of the Show, because I understand that you gotta have people, and you gotta have, for something to get better, you gotta have one thing, right? And I mean, what else could you want? We've never really had a Zelda remake, like ever. We've had
Skyward Sword. Well, no, that was a
remasters.
remaster. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had remasters, but we never had like a full up from the ground, built up remake. If that's not enough for you, man, then I'm like, yo, you don't deserve to be a gamer. Take away that guy's badge, boys. You'll get it, right? Like seriously, man. And it's super pretty graphics, like super nice, right? Like this is Nintendo, man. They've made it like almost a part of their identity, their brand, to be like, we don't care what you think about our graphics, and for them to be like, no, we understand that we got to elevate it. We need to make it cinematic. We need to make you feel like you're there, right? Because that's what Uncharted did, right? That's what Last of Us did, right? It's gonna have to look the part, man. It can't be looking like some freaking game that came out from 2014. It can't be looking like GTA 5 on PS3, man. I'm just kidding. It's not gonna look that old, right? But
I
still,
mean,
man.
ideally, if the rumors are true, then the next Switch will be about as powerful as like a PS4, Xbox 360. I mean, not 360, Xbox One.
Like,
So,
yeah,
so I mean, if
yeah,
with that, it's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know I don't really care about Zelda that much, but it's not truly that I don't care about Zelda. It's more so I just feel like I missed it. I didn't really play those games coming up. I wasn't like a
yeah.
huge Nintendo kid. I had like a Wii.
Right.
That was about it. So like, and I have a Switch now, but it's not the same. But
I don't know.
like I
Personally,
feel
I
like
think
certain
there.
things.
Yeah,
What's like you look back at like Ocarina of Time or uh like I'm trying to think of I guess Skyward Princess. I don't know, like other like classic Zelda games that a
yeah.
lot of people really love, right? And I look back at
Skyward
those.
Sword. Yeah,
I look back at those games. And I'm like, I'm just like these games look a little dated for me. I don't feel like I would enjoy them.
yeah,
But were they
yeah.
to put out like a remake, say, of Ocarina of Time or something like that, like a full from the ground up, I would probably be down to play that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think it's just a matter of like those games. I've never touched them. I don't know much about them.
Yes.
They're a lot of them are very dated outside of like Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I just feel like if I were to have access to those games in a you know up to more modern standards, I would definitely probably be willing to to cop those and try them out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I would definitely say that it's kind of like the God of it gives God of War vibes of like I didn't really care, and then it just was too much hype, and it just looks too different. I feel like for like you, I feel like you would really have to make that jump, and it would just have to look too cool to be like, man, I got to try that out, man. It looks kind of cool, man. And I understand if that didn't happen with this Tears of Kingdom because it still looks like Breath of the Wild, which it's pretty and all that, but I still understand people that aren't a huge fan of that version of Zelda, which kind of looks anime, cartoony. It's pretty, right? But it's not like the gritty, like Link looks real, kind of like that kind of just you know no vibe, right? Like Ocarina had, you know. So like I understand if that's like if it didn't really grab your eye, and I do feel like I don't know if they could do it again, man. I don't think that they can make like a Tears 3, and I just don't. I don't think that. I think they're done with this, and I think it's unique actually because this isn't the first time. I mean, Ocarina Majora's Mask was a sequel to Ocarina of Time, and they were like the same engine. They ran the same way basically, and it was like the same kind of style. So they do have like a formula with Zelda where they do have or where they do like make one or two in a certain style, but the overall mechanics have never really changed up until these two recent ones. So I am curious to see where they would take it from here because they now have open world Zelda. Now they can't do anything but innovate, right? They've made that statement clear. They did it before with these other games. Majora's Mask was a weird game. Like there's a time limit the whole time. You have to
Wait,
like
really?
constantly go back in time. Yeah, you have to constantly go back in time. And there's like a rhythm, but you have to like do certain orders, and you have to like I had to basically use my phone to play. And I had on my 3DS, man, so I didn't mind that, right? But it's very much like one of those games that's great, but you need a phone. You need to know what you're doing, right? Because it's just too much for me. They do a good job making you feel for like the characters too, which I thought was good. But they've always my whole point I'm getting at here is they've always been experimenting, right? There's been one where it's 4 player only, and it's like a procedural generated dungeon, and that was on the GBA, dude. Like you had to connect 4 Game Boys together with a
Whoa.
wire to play that. I remember, and that they advertised the hell out of like on Nickelodeon and all this stuff. And I wanted to play it, so we played it like Best Buy or something. And we had a lot of fun, but I mean, yeah, obviously not exactly convenient for the long run. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean that's why my main point here, because there is one. I know it's like whatever, it's crazy, but I think that's why their only thing they can do really right now is remake a Zelda and do that because look, um, there's recent conversations about Fallout with this because the success was like I don't know if I sent the link or voice it was like 75,000% increase or 750% increase in purchase of Fallout
Yeah.
4 I think in Europe because of the show. And I don't know if that doesn't tell you that Amazon's like the biggest influencer in like streaming. I don't know what does, because I wonder that sometimes. I don't think there's any real system that can tell you answer because it always changes, right? 24/7, the numbers change. But I would say that I mean that's insane, right? And also Fallout 5, people joke because it's true. That game's not gonna come out until like 2030. Or we joke, but it's true. That game's gonna come out like 2032. So I'm fine with that. But you know what would be pretty smart of them to do, man? Remake Fallout New Vegas. Remake Fallout 3. Remake the old Fallouts. People don't care. They just want Fallout because we saw this show and it's been a great hit, you know? And I don't know if they didn't. That's why there's getting that whole. There's like been an update. I don't know if you heard about that, right? Like the next gen update for
Yeah,
PS5.
5. Yeah.
That's why they've been pushing that. It's because oh man, we got to take advantage of these numbers, man. We got to make money somehow, man. So to see that, and I don't know. So I just feel like it's the same answer here. They're going to remake Zelda while we wait for the next decade, and we're gonna get this, man. We're gonna get it going.
All right. So Boyce sent this in the chat. It was the Cillian Murphy thing, like the rumor that he's gonna be the villain in Far Cry 7. How do you?
Yeah, that's yeah. I would definitely pick it up for that. I'm definitely curious to see where it would take place.
Yeah, I can definitely see his piercing blue eyes on the cover of a Far Cry game. I'm gonna make a confession right here. I've never played a Far Cry game.
Wow.
Yeah, not even Far Cry 3. I know that game is like a classic. I think the most I've touched of Far Cry is for one, my girlfriend, she plays Far Cry New Dawn. She's pretty into that, and I feel like I helped her play through certain sections of that. And then I've played I think it was a demo for Far Cry 4, and that's it. That's my only experience with Far Cry.
Indeed. So what's the story there? Like, why don't you try them out?
I think it's more so one of those things where it's like I don't really actively avoid those games. I just never got into them, so I just never like whenever a new one comes out, I'm not like, oh, another Far Cry, because I've never played them, so I'm just like I don't feel anything for them. I'm open to it. I'll definitely go back and play them, like the ones I miss. Like I know Far Cry 3 especially is like even that game alone, outside of like the Far Cry series, is like a classic game. But I just just never really caught my interest like coming up. But
yeah, well, this is perfect time to get into, man. Those piercing blue eyes, Cillian Murphy, they're going to hypnotize you, man. They're going to get you to walk over there, get you, go download that from the PlayStation Store, man, or go to your local. I ain't gonna lie,
dude. When I saw, what's the dude's name? Is it John Carlos Espinola? I can't remember his name.
You're like, I got to try that out, man.
When I saw it, I was like, man, that's pretty cool, but yeah, I couldn't bring myself to do it because I'm like, I've never touched Far Cry. I don't want to be that guy that's. I know they're all different, right? I know it's one of those, but I was like, I don't want to start with 6. I want to at least, if I'm gonna get into the series, I at least want to start with 3, even if I don't play the first 2, and then like go through them,
right?
Which would probably be fun. I'd probably be into that because they seem cool. A little bit I have seen of them, but like I said, I feel like it's one of those things that more so I never was like, I'm not gonna play those. It was more so I just never got into them. You played all of them, right?
That makes sense.
Are you a Far Cry guy?
I played all of them but 2, and that's like the one that I always wanted to play. Isn't that funny how that works, huh?
Yeah.
The first one I played like a demo. I didn't really play all the way through. That game's pretty interesting. Definitely had some frustrations with it, but I don't remember too much about it. I know it's on a beach and you're wearing like a dope ass Hawaiian t-shirt. Yeah, it's like goofy, but it's like one of those classic ones. And 3, I got that for Christmas. It's one of those. I want to say it's like the third year I had a PS3. I got it for Christmas, and I was super hyped. I was psyched I was so like excited, dude. I saw like the demo and I was like, it's an open world first person shooter and it looks just like Call of Duty. And one of the things I always wanted for whatever reason, my weird head was like an open world COD, right? Where you're just going around doing missions, and not the way it was done in Modern Warfare 3, where it's like a war zone, like recycled map, but like actual mechanics. And there's like, like Splinter Cell, even levels of like what you can do, like your options and like how you can tackle it, and to see like Far Cry come out, and it didn't have like that like nuance, but it was still a lot of fun just to like shoot at stuff. And the third one really had a story that I was interested in. This is like a random movie, but it was called The Island of Leo DiCaprio, and I'd seen bits and pieces of it, but I remembered, I never forgot it because the setting was this game. I
It
saw that
was
movie first,
what
and that's why this game
what
stuck
was the
out to
name of the
me.
movie?
It's called the Island. I never really saw all of it, and I just saw bits of it at my aunt's house, and like my mom was there too. She didn't let me see all of it. But I was like a kid,
Wait, is that the
and
movie
he's
where
basically like
he's
some
a
guy.
kid? Like Leo, like it's a young Leonardo. Am
Yeah,
I
he's
thinking about?
young.
Wait,
He's not a kid. I would
I
say
think I'm thinking about the beach or something like that. I think I'm thinking about a different
that
movie.
might be what it's called. That might be exactly what it's called. The beach. It might be that or the island. So it was called that or something. And it's literally just a dude that's stuck on an island, and he's like trying to survive. And it had a lot of in common with Far Cry. I don't know if he's really a survivor or a badass in that movie, but it just reminded me a lot of that movie. And I was like, this is actually what that I wanted that movie to be, where he kind of kicks ass and he turns into a survivor. But it's not too out there. It's like grounded. It feels real, right? And he has these friends. And they had this interesting, like he has a girlfriend there, but he's obviously learned. He's like, there's a part where he's like, he tells one of the friends, I started to enjoy killing. It's like really like deep stuff for like a game. It's very
You're
very
really
very
selling me on
intriguing. I
this.
was
You're
very
really
like,
making me go. Dang, what I've been.
that's the only one you should play, dude. Honestly, if you try any of them, that's the one. That or just going to YouTube, right? But like
Oh
the
no,
mechan,
no.
the story. I don't know if the story really landed at the end, but I liked it a lot. It stuck with me. None of the stories have been good since then, honestly, in my opinion. Four was like fake good. You're like, oh, isn't it good? The villain was like, nah, he was. Boss was like something else, and I mean, yeah, dude, Michael Mann is freaking went on to be on Better Call Saul. He's Nacha. He's a great actor. He's in Spider Man. He's Scorpion in Homecoming. Like, yeah, dude, it just was the best. They haven't been able to recreate that. I think that their issue right now is like, oh, like we have to have a villain. Everyone, I think that's a cool thing to have, right? But that's not the point. That was just like a side of an added to Far Cry 3 being a good game, right? I feel like Far Cry 6 is just we need to make a good open world shooter and just nail. We need to have something that really makes this game sing. That we can't help but like make it feel alive. A lot of what I feel like because I have six. Because I just freaking buy these games, right? Far Cry though, I wanted to play it, and I don't know, man. It just felt like that same kind of like I don't know. It just feels like a run of the mill. Like they made this map in a factory, and then they put this game out. It doesn't feel really lively or like filled with like a soul to it, right? And that's fine, right? Like you need to have objectives to go to, but I don't know. I don't know if Far Cry has the same streak of luck as Call of Duty with they can get away with making the same game every year because I don't even know. I don't know the numbers of Far Cry. I know that Assassin's Creed can because everybody knows Assassin's Creed, right? When
Yeah.
people say that about Assassin's Creed, I think it's fine because they can do whatever they want, right? Far Cry, I don't know, man. Like you're saying, you're not into it, man. If Far Cry is like first person Assassin's Creed, quite literally, you climb, literally you have to climb the towers. Don't play it, man. I'm just thinking about it. Don't play 3, dude. You have to climb these freaking towers to clear the map. I hate that shit, man. I'm tired of it. I don't like
Oh,
to do it
that's
anymore.
fine. That's standard video game stuff, man. I can
Yeah,
deal with that.
that's fine if you want. Like
I
right
do.
now
I
for
play
me, I can't
Assassin's
do it right
Creed,
now.
man. I play Assassin's Creed, bro. All you have to climb and
Yeah,
freaking synchronize.
that's all you
It's
do.
yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah. That's true. That's
I'm
all you
cool. I'm
do.
cool
And
with that.
there's, I think they got better. Mirage did a good job, where I didn't feel like I was doing that all the time. But Far Cry it's just different, man, because you're climbing a ladder. It's not fun to climb. Like you're just climbing ladders and jump. Assassin's Creed, you got the like half of the fun is climbing, right? You're
True.
parkouring. I don't
True.
know. You can give it a go, see if you like it. If not, that's fine. But I don't know, man. This I guess I am kind of a Far Cry fan talking about this series because I was really hyped for 3 and 2, and 4 I had to get. I got it like when it came out because I was like, I'm hyped for this, man. And then I was like, is this? And then I just had that thought in my mind, like, is this Call of Duty? This is secretly Call of Duty. And then 5 came out. I was like, yeah, I just can't anymore. It's fucking Ubisoft, man. But I don't know, man. They Star Wars coming out, and I mean, Assassin's Creed has been good again. Lately they've been showing that they care about. I don't know that there's people there that care. So Prince of Persia was really good. I think that's their most recent game that they've released, like AAA game, to like critical success.
Yeah.
So I think that they can do it, man. I have faith. Even Assassin's Creed Red, or Code Red, which is like we already have Rise of the Ronin and Ghost of Tsushima. So either way, that's a game that I'm gonna have my eye on. And good luck. I really wish you the best of luck, Eric, with your sticking to your backlogs. I don't know, man. I hear you say these things, and I'm like, I don't know, man. You're too into Assassin's Creed,
you're
man.
just waiting. You're just waiting for me to crack and just buy a game.
Yeah,
you're just waiting.
I'm like, that's the game. If there's a game that you're gonna crack and buy, if Assassin's Creed Code Red is good, it's gonna be that game. Because you're just gonna hear all kinds. I'm hyped, man. When did Odyssey come out? 2017 or Valhalla?
Valhalla was 20.
Valhalla was 20. Okay, that's still a long time for Assassin's Creed. 4 years, dude.
There was a 3-year gap. We got Mirage. So
that's true. I forgot about that. We don't talk about that. No, I'm playing. People like Mirage. Apparently, I was looking at the notes, man. Apparently, there's going to be a Basim sequel, man. I don't know how I feel about all that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that because that's on my list. Yeah. All right. This has become a Ubisoft podcast. We were just going to talk about Assassin's Creed and stuff.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Man. This spin off E&E, the Erick and Erick men.
This is what you get, bro. So okay. So apparently, like the headline I saw is Ubisoft has ideas for another Assassin's Creed Basim story. This isn't that crazy, right? I read the article. It's a short article. It's just basically they're saying they have ideas for ways they could continue Basim's story. But I think, and there, of course, there's no issues with having ideas. Of course, when you're creative, you know this because you write. I've written stuff too.
Yes.
When you're coming up with creative ideas, it's like it's very easy to have ideas for a continuation of a story, right? Doesn't mean that thing will always get made or that you intend to ever do anything with it, but it's like it's there. But knowing Ubisoft, right, and knowing how they operate, I feel like this might end up going beyond, we have ideas to maybe we can make something happen. But my thing is, and the fact that this was even an article that was written for a major outlet like GameSpot, you know what I mean? There must be something to this beyond just like, they just said they have ideas, right? This must be significant in some way.
Yeah.
So it's like, my thing is like, why Bayek? I mean, not Bayek, sorry, Basim. Like of all characters to continue to give more games, right? We had Ezio. Ezio was an anomaly, right, in the world of Assassin's Creed because he got 3 games. Mind you, Altair is like around there with them because Altair had his game. He was in Revelations. He was a big part of Revelations. There was also, I think he had a Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, which was like a PSP game or something like that. So Altair got his fair share of spotlight too, but for the most part, Ezio is like, you think Assassin's Creed, it's Ezio, man. That arc, those 3 games, like Assassin's Creed was his franchise. It still kind of is. They still use Ezio's family as the theme for most games. So like the thing is, it's like we haven't gotten to Ezio since then, and there was talks of Bayek, right? Before Origins came out, people were like, Bayek it's rumored that they're gonna make another trilogy with Bayek, where we see, which would have fit so well because they rushed the origin story, right? It's like Bayek is like he's I guess you could call him a co-founder of the Brotherhood, and so it would have been so cool to see. And I don't know if you played DLC for Origins or not. I think the Hidden Ones DLC. I played that, and that kind of served as like a bit of like a sequel. I'm like, they could have really blown this out and made a sequel, and maybe done another game that like a trilogy of games that shows the origin story of the Brotherhood with Bayek at the helm, and that would have been so cool. Wasted potential. Instead, they decided to go with Odyssey, which I mean, Odyssey I had fun with, but like that game isn't. It's not an ideal Assassin's Creed game, and there was always that. I'm sure you've heard this before. It's a good game. It's just not a very good Assassin's Creed game, right? We've all heard that mantra. And
Yeah.
I used to kind of agree with that. I used to be of that mindset. And there were certain games I liked that were like, this is cool, but like, I mean, it doesn't do much in terms of
Right.
Assassin's Creed, but it's a cool game. But like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not really fair, right? It's like you think of like what's the number one rule of like criticism, right? Just something for what it is, not what you want it to be. And if
Exactly.
you're playing
Yeah.
an Assassin's Creed game, it should be an Assassin's Creed game. And so if you're playing an
Right.
Assassin's Creed game and it doesn't adhere to those things, right? Then how can we
Right.
say that it's good if it's not a good Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed game? And so I've really come to like think of it in terms of like you look at Odyssey, Valhalla,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the other ones that are kind of not as heavily focused on like being an Assassin's Creed game. And to be a true Assassin's Creed game, it doesn't even have to be focused on assassins. You know, you take
Right.
Assassin's Creed 4. Assassin's Creed 4 is very much an Assassin's Creed game, even though Edward isn't even an assassin most of the game. It's
Right.
because it
And
still
we can
has
even go
that.
back to the Templars.
Yeah, yeah, or even
I don't know if you're.
that makes me think of Rogue, where you play as Shay and you go to the Templars. That's still very much an Assassin's Creed game, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like stuff like that, and it's like I look at Basim, right? Basim is an assassin, and Basim is
Yeah.
cool, but and
I guess this is a spoiler, right? Sort of, but isn't he's a villain, right? Isn't he the villain? In, like Valhalla.
somewhat, I guess. I don't know. He's like the reincarnation of Loki. He's like an
Does he
Isu,
die? I didn't like any of that. That was like, okay, they ruined
right?
this
Right?
already for
That
me.
was like
As soon
super,
as soon
and
as we got to
that's
like,
what
he's like a mad. I'm
ruins
like, I don't get it.
Basim for me because like
Yeah.
Basim in what's it called? Mirage isn't a bad
Yeah.
character. I don't think. I actually think he's quite interesting. But the fact that
Yeah.
knowing what he does in Valhalla, having that knowledge, it's kind of like it ruins
Right.
his character for me. He's not like you think about Ezio.
Mm-hmm.
If Ezio had like the staff of is it Ermi, whatever that staff was that helped like Cassandra or Alexio stay alive all those years, or
Oh.
you know, like Basim. If we knew that Ezio was like alive in modern day or like some sort of crazy reincarnation of the Isu Loki, right?
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't care nearly as much about him. It's that human.
Right.
It's him being a human.
Yeah.
Not to say that Basim isn't human. I mean, but like it's like him just
Yeah.
being
He's
like
like a yeah.
yeah, just him just
He's
being
a
like a
dude.
dude. Nothing really is that special about Ezio. He's a man who fell into this brotherhood and he made his way, right? That's
Yeah.
what's so appealing about his story. You know,
Yeah.
all the things he does for the brotherhood because he cares about it so much, right? You know, you think
Yeah.
of that scene in Revelations, it's so powerful. The he
Yeah.
goes to the Altair's library. He sees his corpse. No books, no wisdom, just you and me for Tio Mio. Like that stuff like that. Like that is the Assassin's Creed that I love and I want back that we will never
Yeah.
get because they're focused on freaking Loki, making more games with Loki. Mind you, I know I
Just
said this.
remake. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
remake
this is a
those. Remake.
hypothetical. It probably
Remake
won't
two.
happen, but the fact that this was even a headline kind of burned me up because I'm like Basim, really? I don't know. I just like
I know why. I
I
mean,
didn't.
I feel like. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead. I feel like I've been ranting this whole time. Just like
No, no, you're good, man. Because you're ultimately you know more about the Assassin's Creed, kind of like I know more about Metroidvania.
yeah.
And I feel like there's definitely when you played Origins, how did you feel about traveling? Did you feel like it was designed for like parkour, or it was like always second? Because I feel like both of them were really
Yeah, no,
combat heavy.
parkour wasn't really,
Yeah.
and it's not something
Okay.
I thought much about when I was playing it initially back in like
Right.
2017. I was just having a good time with
Right.
it. I really loved exploring the world. I thought it was really cool.
Okay.
But when
Okay. See,
it wasn't until I really went back and started replaying the other games, and I'm just like, these city environments they work for a reason, and like
mm, you're not
it's
feeling
just
it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like when you look at things like the parkour
Yeah.
and like these vast open environments, it's kind of like a
Yeah.
huge staple of Assassin's Creed is the parkour and like going around
Uh,
and that's just kind of stripped
Yeah,
in
dude.
those games, you know.
I honestly, and I think that that's honestly
Hiding
that's
in
the
plain
answer,
sight
man.
too,
It's,
social stuff. Those games for the most part got rid of social
yeah,
stuff. They brought it back
that was
kind of
always
in
fun.
Valhalla, but like not really
Yeah,
because they
I
knew
heard it was yeah,
yeah, those settings don't aid in like those Assassin's Creed core gameplay like
why am I
games.
doing this when you're encouraging me to like tear shit up with these
Yeah.
axes, right? Just like combat. You're a Viking. That didn't even make any sense to be
Like
like
if you
trying to
guys
hide.
wanted
You're
to
like
make
trying not
these
to kill.
games, right, you could have just made, for one, you have like something like Immortals Phoenix Rising, right?
Yeah,
Which looks so I've never played that game and I have no desire to because of how similar it looks to Odyssey. It kind of
Zelda.
makes me
Yeah.
mad because
I
I'm
mean, they're
like
canceled now.
why didn't they just make this? And they put the same creative director from that game on Odyssey, and I feel like Odyssey wasn't the game he wanted to make. He wanted to make Immortals, but I was like, I guess I'm
Yeah.
forced to make an
He's like, all
Assassin's
right,
Creed
man, we
game.
got to have Assassin's Creed.
And
You
this is
know?
what we got. And like I said, I still like
Yeah.
Odyssey, but I played I don't know how many hours of that game. I got the platinum. After doing that, I'm like, I have no desire to play Immortals Phoenix Rising. It looks very similar. I'm just like, I don't
Yeah.
want to play this. So it's like,
I don't have the desire to relive this. I'm already
yeah,
done with this experience. It's time to move on to something different. And this wasn't cutting it up, man. But I think that it's stuff like that it's disappointing, but it gives you a better picture for like what Ubisoft mindset is, and it's always just like a convenient business. That's why it's Basim still, because we made one game with him, and now we can do the same. You know why? Because it's in a parkour environment, man. We don't have to do too much. This character's kind of a blank
yeah.
slate.
And
No
he's
one
an
really cares
assassin.
about
He's the
him.
only assassin we've had in a while,
Yeah,
right? You look
and
at like,
I don't know if he's like even thinks like a person. Is he like a god is
I
in his
don't
head? They
even
didn't do
know,
a good job
man.
explaining.
I don't.
Why is he a
Yeah. I
girl?
don't
Like
get it. I don't really get it, to
why?
be completely honest. I still don't entirely
Was that
understand.
his sister? I don't understand. Was he in love with himself and a woman? I don't. They like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
whole
yeah. It
thing
turned
was
out
like.
like the girl wasn't real or something.
I don't
That
know.
that
They
part
didn't
pissed me
explain
off.
that, huh?
I just that story fell apart for me towards the end. I was just kind of like, dude,
Dude,
this
that
is.
final boss. I'm like, was this supposed to be the climax?
They
Is
had
this
me in the
supposed to be the
first
final?
half, man. They had me in the first half. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
But that's just like, yeah, dude. Because there have been really good villains before, man. There have been memorable, more memorable villains than this. Like the guy from Two, the Bourgeois. I just hated them so much, and
Yeah,
what's his
you have the
name?
friggin' Pope, and you have
Hatham was pretty
the Pope,
memorable.
Cesare. Like,
The guys from one were I didn't really remember any of their names, but they were definitely really vicious. And I was like looking at clips of that, and I was like, one was still better than this, man.
yeah. I
They could
hope,
have just
dude. And
remade one
looking
from the
at Al
ground up, and it would
Mualim,
have been
right?
better.
That was a cool boss fight, man.
Yeah, yeah, dude. He's like, oh yeah, yeah, your mentor. That
Yeah,
was pretty memorable, man. Now that I think it's pretty iconic, man. That game is a lot darker. It's a lot more gritty. It's everything that this game, and I sound like I'm hating, but I'm not, because this game is still more fun. I think in the long run, I still had fun with it. Sometimes it just
yeah,
didn't have. I don't know
yeah.
why
No, no,
they
no.
didn't really. They could have just went all the way with remaking the system from Ezio games and one, and it would have been better. But they've doing this weird thing where it's a fusion of the new ones, but they got rid of things that were integral to like both of those. It was fun, but it was just like I don't. And I felt like I was constantly nerfed. I was constantly trying to look up for leveling up, and I leveled up, and I still felt like I get it. I get that they're trying to be like, oh man, you can't kill 10 people, but I feel like in the older ones, when that was possible, it didn't feel like it was because, man, I cheated the system. It just felt like, yeah, you're good enough to kill these 10 people, right? You can die, but with this one, it just felt like, oh, we're going to make it harder for you because it's like, no, man, just make the combat really good. Don't make me
Yeah,
like suck or
yeah.
don't nerf me. I don't know. You might have liked I was kind of
I
annoyed.
thought the combat
I just
was it did the Assassin's Creed 1 thing where it's kind of like, how Assassin's
yeah.
Creed you just kind of wait and then you counter and then you just kill them and you just do that
Yeah.
over and over. It kind of
Just add
it
that.
was,
What's the rhythm thing?
yeah, it was kind of like that, but like it wasn't, it was satisfying, sure, but like ultimately it wasn't really combat, was it? Because the game
No.
was like, oh,
And,
it's actively encouraging you to stay out of combat and to like really play like an assassin. But if you're gonna have combat, at least still make it fun. And not to say,
yeah.
not to bag on Assassin's Creed 1 or anything, because I do like it in Assassin's Creed 1, but it's also a modern game. And I feel like with
Yeah.
modern games,
Exactly.
it's kind of like it
Let
doesn't
me
quite hit
just
the
side note,
same.
dude. Yeah. Yeah. We
So,
need at least 28 more
so it's like you
executions.
say,
Oh
so
my
it's like
god,
say,
dude.
oh, you like the combat, but it's like kind of like what combat though? The combat is pretty much
Yeah.
non-existent.
At least add animations. You know, I saw the same animation 86 times, bro, for like the counter attack, the counter kill.
Yeah,
At least
it's
add
literally the
more. Dude, we
same.
had Hexe out here freaking impaling dudes on spears, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god,
And then like
man.
especially in
Dude,
Revelations when you like utilize the hook blade and stuff like that. That stuff to me was so cool. And they had
that
something
shit like narrative
similar. They had something
dissonance.
similar in it
Yeah,
in this one, but
yeah. It's like narrative dissonance, dude, where Etsy is super charming in the cutscene, and then he's like a fucking sociopath, dude. He's like freaking impaling people, like he gets off on murdering people. Dude,
hey,
you're
at
right,
least
dude. He
they
had
are
that hidden
innocents
gun. He had
though.
the hidden gun. I
Oh
remember. You're
yeah,
right. In Revelations, dude,
Leonardo da
he
Vinci,
freaking
like,
puts the gun.
dude, da Vinci
He
put us
just blows
on in
their
those
head.
games, man.
Bro, if Ezio is freaking blowing people's brains out with the gun thing, he just like puts it to their. Dude, I might try to get Revelations. Dude, Revelations Loki is Loki underrated,
Do you
man.
have the Ezio
That's Loki my
collection?
favorite. I thought about getting it, man, but I might just get it on my deck
Man,
because I can just
yeah.
get it on
No,
here
Revelations is
and I can mod it.
genuinely. I'm glad you say that. Like, Assassin's Creed 3 is my favorite one simply because of nostalgia. Like, it's the first one I played. I
Right.
discovered it as a young boy. I was like 10 years old playing that game, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh man, this game is awesome. But
Right.
Revelations, if I really think about it from like an objective standpoint of like what I think is genuinely the best one, I really like Revelations a lot. Revelations is like so good to me.
It really I
I know people
completely
always like cite
yeah,
2 or Brotherhood as like the best of these
yeah.
the Ezio trilogy, but to me it's Revelations, man.
The Revelations has like most variety of like the in one game of like the Loki because there was like the whole underground city that
Yeah,
was so cool, man. And then you begin in the snow, and I mean
right. That
Altair's
part
in
is
it too,
awesome,
dude.
man. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
return to
combat was a lot like
Masayev, the fact that you even go back to Masayev and stuff like that is so cool.
yeah. Yeah, did you play as him too, dude?
Yeah,
You like get a whole arc with him. Dude, if they remade any of the Ezio ones, I feel like that one would be like
dude.
insane.
The
I don't know,
only thing
two.
that's like kind of lackluster in that game, and I guess you can make this argument, is the modern day. There isn't really much going on because like Desmond is like trapped in the Animus
Yeah,
or whatever. But like
I remember. Yeah, he meets like some other dude too, right?
Subject
And
16,
like
yeah. I
he's the
think
guy that's like the voice he heard from
yeah,
the other
I think
games,
it's
like
Subject
two.
16 that's in there that he meets.
Yeah, no, you're right, Because I was like, I know he has a weird ass name. I was gonna say Android something. Like I know he's in a robot,
I can't remember what his
but like
actual
some
name was,
and
to be honest.
I know he does have a name. He tell it or something like that. I know
Yeah,
that Desmond's wearing like black in this one or something. I don't know. They're going with a vibe with this one, but you can tell that they really made these games for the heart because like we gotta people love this character so much. We gotta like have a proper story for him, and they
yeah.
did. And honestly, they could have just remade, copied the engine because I feel like they really did perfect it, and then they completely were finished and they dropped it, and then which is fine, right? You gotta try something new, and so we came to three engine. But I mean, yeah, dude, Revelations. If we had that gameplay loop with the graphics of this new ones, I don't know, just
That's why I
make
like
the
Unity.
setting.
Unity feels like old
Yeah,
school almost, but
yeah,
like good graphics. So it's like kind of
yeah.
it's like best of both worlds, and then
So,
they just kind of
and we could
dipped
just
off from
remake.
there.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, we could remake Unity too because that setting was underutilized. Freaking amazing, and you only use it in one game. And Ezio was in Italy for two games, right? So like, honestly, we've been in the Middle East for Revelations one, and now Mirage. We haven't used enough of Paris, and we haven't used enough of the French Revolution. But honestly, we're. I think it's time we're just gonna have to uh, just put our goodbyes in the boat and just let it drift away, Eric, because I don't think that it's gonna happen, man. Because
Yeah,
I do.
it's not.
One
I
thing
lost
I will
faith,
say for
man.
us right here is you're making the thing is with fans like you, they're like the real fans that really care, right? We're making noise, right? And that's good because we don't know how far they are in this progress, right, with this new game. But if you can start early enough, if people can start early enough with this, and Ubisoft is listening enough, they'll be like, okay, we can't. We need to utilize because I think the bottom line there that we can get at that's good is they're committing to this continued. All right, we're gonna have these mainline ginormous RPG types, and then we're gonna have the stealthier, smaller ones, right? Self like Mirage. Instead of Mirage Two, though, like we originally planned, we might keep the name Mirage Two just to have this franchise now, but it's not gonna be Bayek. Uh, it's gonna be uh, it's not gonna be Basim. It's gonna be Bayek, and it's gonna be in this he has to travel, right? Because Ezio didn't freaking make any sense in where he traveled. They came up with a reason for the plot, right?
Yeah.
And I say that because I feel like you're not alone. A lot of people really like Bayek the most, like coming second to Ezio, right? In terms of how like deep a character story can be. And I don't know, did they have a proper conclusion, right? If they didn't, then you could have a similar kind of revelations treatment for him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that gets you excited though.
I mean, it's like, to be honest, it's exciting the thought of it, but I just know it's not gonna happen. Like, the people who care about Assassin's Creed are no longer attached to it. The original creator, Patrice something, I can't remember what his name was. He left a long time ago. Darby McDevitt, the writer of Assassin's Creed 4 and Revelations, and Valhalla also, he left after Valhalla, I think. And so it's like anybody who like even had like had a lick of faith in to like maybe steer the series back is like they aren't attached to it. So I almost feel like Assassin's Creed is like a free agent now. It's just kind of like do whatever.
Yeah.
And I wish
so what you're saying is,
wish that. Oh, go ahead.
You're saying that this is going to happen then with Basim, or
Like,
what's his name? The new one.
I feel like the thing is, I feel like it's definitely possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back. Like, I almost feel like what I would like if they would take a page out of Resident Evil's book, right? Like Resident Evil, you have characters like Chris, Leon, Claire,
Right.
who we see sporadically throughout the series, right? Chris and Jill are in the first game. Resident Evil 2 is Leon and Claire. Resident Evil 3 is Jill again. Resident Evil 4 is Leon again. 5 is Chris again. And then there's Code Veronica in there, but that's Claire again. It's like stuff like that. So we sporadically see these characters throughout the series. And I feel like I feel like with Ubisoft, I feel like once they're like, oh, we've moved on, we can't go back. You can though. Yeah. Like, if y'all wanted to make another game with Bayek, you could be like, all right, we're bringing Bayek back.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, oh, we're bringing Connor back, boy. Like, you could do anything. It's literally your franchise.
It's just like so many possibilities. Yeah. Why is there so much reluctance? Is it just too much because there's too many fans that are demanding? They'll be like, oh man, we need Middle Eastern, and then they get confused. Like, man, we just need to stick to our own, and just keep doing what we're doing. Because
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Things like that worry me too, because I don't know. This game got good ratings, I think, for the most part, but it wasn't I don't think anyone said anything about the narrative or the plot. So where are we going to take this? You can't do it in the same place because that's not interesting enough. The gameplay isn't good enough, or you're not doing it justice. There's not even why isn't there any strangers missions like Red Dead Redemption? Why hasn't Ubisoft ever had like quality side missions like a Red Dead Redemption, like Rockstar? Is it really that hard to like get someone to write something and commit to it? You can do these things, but you're not, because I don't know. I think it's just time. I think that's it. And I don't know, man, because I don't know. When it comes to Assassin's Creed, it's been a while since we had, Code Red. I mean, like, any information regarding these games, and I don't know how separated the teams are, but I don't know, man. Maybe Assassin's Creed is fine. Maybe the Assassin's Creed Mirage franchise is the one that is going to have issues, man, because I don't know, man. I don't know. Because where's this game going to take place, man? It can't be. Are they going to take it back to Valhalla, but it's going to be with the mechanics of Mirage? That might be interesting, but how are you going to do that?
Yeah,
how would stealth work? There's a lot of these questions that are just like, maybe that's why they're still like, okay, we're going to do what we want to do. And, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, like, yeah, there really isn't. I mean, honestly, do we need like two different ways of playing Assassin's Creed? Maybe they just needed better stealth in the RPG ones. Maybe that was it. Maybe you just need to go do away with I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm kind of indifferent. I liked it, but I could do away with it, like the health bars and the level up system. I get people
like
want the RPG
mechanics, just like take them out.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Just take them out and see what happens. Because
there's
I don't
no
really
reason
think
I should have to be a certain level or upgrade my hidden blade in order to perform an assassination in an Assassin's Creed game. You
Yeah,
know,
and people are
like
like, "Man, I want a giant one." I'm like, I don't think that they mean that they need quite literally RPG. They just want them on that scale of like adventure. But
right,
go ahead.
yeah, and I think that what makes me like mad too, if I'm being honest, is that
Mm,
it'd be different if Ubisoft was just detached from the community, like they didn't
mm,
know. But the thing is, they actively will acknowledge the things that fans want.
mm.
That's what makes me mad. Is that you talk about, oh, Mirage, like we know people have been wanting old school Assassin's Creed back, or even like Codename Red, we're like, oh, we're putting more focus on stealth. It's like you know what we want,
Yeah,
right? They brought
right.
like even in like Origins, they were like, oh, we're bringing back modern day, because you remember they took out playable modern day for like a couple games, a few games
Oh
actually,
yeah,
and so like they were like, oh, we're bringing out modern day, so they know what fans want, but
yeah,
and I know that there are people who make these games that still care, obviously, but the people in charge are the ones who don't, and it's like if it's frustrating because you see what we want, but you're just like, we're still gonna try to appeal to this audience that aren't Assassin's Creed fans. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's like
I
it's
mean,
weird.
Assassin's Creed is already so massive, so you don't need to worry about getting new fans. You just need to worry about maintaining who you have because they're not going
Exactly.
anywhere. Exactly. So just focus on take care of them, and then maybe things will work out in your favor. You know, this I don't know. Just like I just want the game. Like the games are they're gonna keep coming, and there are so many different things that they can do. I just don't. I don't know, man. It's a lot. I
Yeah.
think that hopefully that means that they have a story that they think that they can do it justice, and that's why they're sticking to it, And I wish them luck. I don't think it's that
Yeah.
hard to make a good story with this character, right? But I can understand the frustration with choosing more exciting things, and I don't really think it's for me. I've gotten to a point when it comes to like the Ubisoft games, like specifically, I don't really listen to them on their socials or anything they say. Like when Mirage came out, I only ever looked at like what they released on YouTube and what was in the game that was like being teased. And I was like, okay, I can roll with this. But like when it comes to what they're telling us, I don't believe them. I don't believe them since Watch Dogs, released
Fair.
that
Fair.
E3 and the game came out. But I mean, done me they haven't done me too wrong. And it's not even them. That's like the reason for that. It's honestly EA with like the Fallen Order. When that came out, I was like, this game is great. I didn't think it was gonna be good, man. I really didn't. But it was really good. And EA, you could argue, is worse than Ubisoft, right?
Yeah.
And they care more. So I think I want to chalk it up to you know Mirage not being up to my to our desires because it's their first try with like a new system, trying to use it because I'm pretty sure it's the same one they use in Valhalla, right? But it's just
Yeah.
uh,
I think.
used for stealth. So I think that can be partially blamed why it just feels like Valhalla but very nerfed. So maybe the gameplay will be good enough for me, and the parkour too, especially with this another one that it'll be enough to make us care less about where it is. But I do understand that, man, because we've had a lot of Assassin's Creed in the Middle East, man. A lot of like deserty looking, buildings, and it's cool, but there's a lot more that we could be doing. I'll take like Scottsdale, like Scottish, like ancient, like Scotland. It's just so random, right?
Yeah. You want
But
to see
maybe
more
that's like,
castles, man. More castles.
yeah,
And all that.
castles like medieval Assassin's Creed. Like straight up medieval Assassin's Creed,
Yeah, I
not
feel
just
that.
like, oh, we have knights. That would be
Yeah, I
dope
feel
too,
that. I
man.
feel like for me, it's less about the setting and more so just make a good
Just the
game. That's
combat.
it. And I know
Yeah,
I'm
just
sitting
have
here like
skill.
talking a bunch of junk and ranting, but like realistically, I'm gonna play Red. I'm gonna play Hex. I might
Yeah.
like them even, but like
Mm,
I'm
mm.
they just aren't. I'm gonna
What is
continue
even
to
the plan with Hex, man? Like, what is it? What is that? Is
yeah.
that going to be turn based?
Let's talk about that. I don't really know. I haven't heard much about the turn based thing that you've been talking about. I haven't looked much into it. But
That's just a guess. I
some
don't.
details have leaked about the game and some of the gameplay mechanics. I got the bullet point list here. It's for one planned for a 2026 release, which makes that would make sense. A fear system, whatever that might entail. Female protagonist with powers apparently. Spell to possess a cat. So I guess there'll be like it'll almost be like the Eagles and stuff like that. So I guess you'll have a controllable cat, which is
That's
interesting.
insane.
The main character is supposedly named Elsa, and well, she'll be hunted by 16th century German soldiers, and it's supposedly going to be a more linear experience with some open world design. And this is from Insider
Oh, so
Gaming,
this.
so like Insider Gaming has a pretty good record of like getting accurate scoops. So I mean, I think it's safe to say that this stuff is pretty much confirmed. How do I feel about it? That's fine. I don't. At this point, can you call this an Assassin's Creed game? Sure, whatever. Like if I'll like I said, I'm gonna play it. It has Assassin's Creed in the name, but it does. I will say though, it does sound interesting. It sounds fun. It's just, how is this an Assassin's Creed game? That's the part that throws me, because all this sounds pretty interesting, but I can't get over it. Like, this is Assassin's Creed though. And it's gonna be part of that Infinity thing, that the launcher I guess they're doing, which I don't.
Oh
really
yeah, that's
like. I don't
all.
like launchers either. Like the Call of Duty thing they did that for
It's a
with the
pain in the
launcher.
ass. Pain in the ass.
And I was like, I just want to log into my game and play the game. I don't want to have to go through all these menus to get to the game I'm trying to play. It's just,
dude. This is not Netflix, bro. Get the hell out of here with that.
So
I'm like in a UI, entering a UI. It's just, and it hurts your head.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hex sounds interesting. What are you? Do you got your eyes peeled?
I don't know, man. I don't know if you heard of Plague Tale Requiem, but that's kind of what I was thinking about.
I've never beat. I never beat the first Plague Tale, but it is.
But like, yeah, I'm the same. I downloaded the second one because it was free, and I started it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can finish this, but I get the idea. I think it's going to be something very similar to this, and that is very similar.
Yeah,
I think it's similar to that game I was talking about with Voice. I think, what's it called? The Chronicles, Senua Chronicles. Not the combat, but like the idea.
Hellblade,
like a very like it's gonna be to the sticks to their back, like a God of War camera, and it's gonna be like linear single player experience, more open because of Assassin's Creed. Of course, they have to have some of that to have that freedom of choice. I think that's what they're doing. I'm kind of excited to see it, man. It sounds interesting to me.
I think it's going to be very atmospheric, which I like. It does sound like
I like it does sound like a rated M game. It sounds like the Salem Witch Trials. You're trying to escape like your hunters,
which is what I thought it was going to be, like Salem Witch Trials, but I guess it's taking place.
It might not. That would be awesome.
It's not going to be in like the U.S. or anything.
You have to play as like some girl who's being chased because you're a witch, it's something dumb. And you're like, oh yeah, like you have to run, but you're like, oh, I'm actually an assassin. You start learning how to hunt. You start turning the hunt to them. That would be kind of dope, man. And like, it would have like you have a hidden blade, but I would think you're using more like third person projectile type attacks. Like spells even or casting, and like you make your cat teleport somewhere else and he'll distract, or even like start like attacking. I can think of Dishonored and Plague Tale. Honestly, now that I'm talking about it, I'm like getting hyped, man. But that's just for me. Who I don't right now. I'm not really in a like Assassin's Creed mood, so I don't think that. I'm
this
like
is an Assassin's Creed though, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's called Hexe, right? It just has the logo and the name and this and that.
It's a girl with a hood.
Fun. Honestly, when you said, I was like, I understand, man. I'm like, that frustrates me because I'm like, why don't they just do that? I don't think like they're like, we need to have these. Like, you don't need to have. Clearly, you don't need to have the mechanics. You barely had them in Black Flag, and it was such a success. Like this is a great game as a pirate game, and no one cared that we had Assassin's Creed. They didn't care. They should have just keep doing that. If you're gonna keep doing that, no one's gonna care. Keep doing that, right? And that's gonna be your whole thing, Assassin's Creed Vikings, and it's like a Viking game. It has nothing to do with being assassin. That's fine. Give me a hood. That's enough for me, right? Just make it fun, make it playable, right? If they can do that with Hexe, I'm all in, right? You can even have a God of War stick up to your back camera. Why? Because they don't need every Assassin's Creed to be the same. Right. It just needs to have this like same strands. Like I can stealth kill, I can take others from people. I'm just doing it differently, right? I'm doing it, and it's not like an open world, and maybe there's going to be a choice system. I looked it up while you were looking at 2 minutes. There's like a fear meter or something like that, like a fear system.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, is that gonna affect the story? Dishonor has one thing where you the more you kill shit and the more that you're lethal, the more there's rats, like plague rats will show up on the levels and they're like they can like get you caught. It's so cool, man. They're like they'll eat the corpses. It's just nasty, right? But like, that's what my mind's thinking, man? Because there's like an animal already mechanically your cat. I'm like, dang, dude, are we gonna have like a Dishonored Assassin's Creed kind of thing where like if you choose to be non-lethal, you get a good ending and your environment is affected. Those kind of things are cool to me. But if they don't do that shit and it's just like a Assassin's Creed reskin, right?
Which
Then
it
it's
might
gonna
be.
suck, right? And I think that's what your fear is, right? Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean,
And we
like I
don't.
said, I'll
And
probably still enjoy it for what it is, but it's not. I'm
you're like,
not
what the hell,
like
bro?
I'm not
I was
going. I'm
supposed to have
not going
swords and
into
shit.
Assassin's Creed Hexe like, oh, I'm gonna get my Assassin's Creed fix. No, it's not like that.
I
I
know,
feel
right?
like if as long as I have those expectations, it should be fine. Something
I'm
that
going in to
does
use
make me
spells and shit.
intrigued is
Mhm.
that it's a female protagonist
We
because
haven't had a lot of those.
no Assassin's Creed, at least mainline. If we talk mainline title Assassin's Creed, not one of them has had a sole female protagonist.
Yeah, that's a
Even the
problem.
ones,
You know,
even
because
like
Cassandra was so good.
because you said Cassandra.
Yeah, she was so good, and I chose
Yeah,
the dude, and I was
yeah,
like,
I
man,
did too.
I
I
regret
played
this.
the game wrong. I played the game wrong. I'm not gonna lie.
I regret this
But yeah,
immediately.
it's like she's
Immediately.
canon too, and so is the Eivor, the female Eivor is canon, and it's like
Yeah.
there, it's just like why not just? And I know like Ubisoft has this thing where it's like a women don't sell or whatever, which I wrote a whole essay on, which I kind of want to turn into a video at some point maybe.
You
But
should, man. I got to check this out. It's
yeah,
good.
man, it's like I mean, I feel like they're getting a little better, I guess. You know, we have games like Star Wars Outlaws, where
Uh
apparently
huh.
this game is gonna have a female protagonist, so it's like we're.
I think Code Red is too, actually.
I think there's gonna be a male counterpart though, so I don't count those
Oh,
whenever there's a male counterpart. But
right.
yeah, so it's like it's interesting. I'm glad they're coming around. I guess it took them ages, but you know,
Yeah.
it'll be cool to
Yeah,
see.
probably a little longer than they needed to. I remember when
Yeah,
Call of Duty
absolutely.
made a thing with like reveal with Ghost that there's female players now, like avatars and multiplayer. And
Yeah,
I was just like, this is where we're at in society, man. We got to do better. And honestly, I feel like Tomb Raider. I mean, we got Metroid Prime. I'm thinking about other game series now, but Assassin's Creed definitely. Honestly, I just feel like if it's not bad, I do think we do need more, female protagonists. I would just say, just create a character. Kind of. I don't know how much the technology will go behind that, but I was just thinking because I was listening to something about the Horizon games a lot and how Aloy's basically just you because she can't really because the way it's designed with like the question and like the dialogue system. And I was just like, I don't know, man. Maybe we should just have like more like Saints Row, the older ones, like Saints Row 2, where you change the pitch of your voice, but the voice acting was all really well done, you know. But like, it doesn't make sense when I'm playing, Fallout 4, and I design my character to look like me, but then he sounds like some 30-year-old white dude.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
I just think I think that's funny because I'm just like I don't know. We've done this right before. I don't know if you played the older Saints Row games, man, but they
No, I
did
haven't.
have really good customization. It came to like
I
your
will
voice
say
actor
with
and stuff.
Cyberpunk, I don't know if you played. I'm assuming you played Mel V.
Mm-hmm.
First time I played the game, I
Mm-hmm.
played Mel V. I tried to make him look like me and everything, and I mean it was cool, but I ultimately wasn't super happy with like I don't know. I wasn't
Yeah.
super happy with how I turned out in terms of like my look. Every time I look in the mirror, I was just like I look goofy as hell.
Oh yeah, yeah. So,
But
yeah,
but
the
dude, when I
font
went
was
when
every
I
time.
the second time I played, I did a female V, and I like for one like I feel like the customization there were like I guess more
Mm-hmm.
options I could vibe with. And also
Mm-hmm.
the voice actress for female V is phenomenal, I think. I found it way
I
more
actually,
easy to listen to her speaking than like the male V. I just didn't really
I
vibe with
liked
the
him.
male
I
V
liked.
as much. But
I don't know. I vibe with it. I don't know if it's because the way it is on my character. It just made to me he sounds like a Chicano. He actually sounded like a Hispanic dude that grew up like with an American accent. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay. So you can
He sounds like
identify with
somebody
that. You can identify with that. Yeah.
I can feel like I've heard people like that. Like I've actually heard people talk like that. I know it sounds goofy, but like I don't know, man. You
I
meet
think I
goofy
was just so
people.
salty about how I made my character look that I just like I hated myself the whole game.
It's
Like
hard to
every
see. It's hard to see that voice coming out. Yeah, it's definitely hard to see that
yeah, it
voice
just
come
didn't
out of
fit.
there.
Yeah,
It
it didn't
definitely.
fit. I think that's what it was. It didn't fit the way my character looked. Whereas like with my female V, it all just like it all made sense.
If Fallout 4, you're like some young brown dude, black dude, and then you sound like some 40-year-old white dude. He
Yeah,
didn't even
absolutely,
sound young, dude. He
dude.
sounded old. He
Right.
sounded like a dad. I was like, yo, I sound like some 40-year-old dude, man. Why do I
Exactly.
sound like this? But like the Saints Row 2, man, they all did a great job. The voice actors, but there's like you can tell there's a voice for like a Latino dude, African American dude,
Oh, that's awesome,
Australian
actually.
dude. Yeah, there's like a girl's voice, and then there's like a Latina act, like things like that. Where I feel like it's AI is going to make it easier to do those things. Where because I feel like that's where I really like. I'm all for inclusion and stuff, but I really feel like when it comes to games like Cyberpunk and Mass Effect, I don't think that you're like, oh, you're this character, so you can't date these characters. I think that was dumb because the whole
Yeah,
point of
yeah,
these games is they're RPGs, they're role playing. I don't. There's an article. There's something I read. And it sounds dumb when I say, but it had a good point. It was like your characters, all of the characters are bisexual to your character, or something like that, or you can have your character enter relationships with like any of the other characters, right? Regardless of like things. Sure, you can have certain characters that aren't, but those characters aren't like they're not like you don't interact with them in that capacity. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't know because at the same time, like maybe it was just the way it was done in Cyberpunk because Judy's quest it just felt weird. It felt like they cut out parts of it and it just didn't feel cohesive.
yeah.
But I later learned that they did have that they just took out the option because there was dialogue. Everything was recorded that you could romance anyone. That's why, and like that was the issue with Cyberpunk. So maybe that was the real problem is it wasn't really designed like that. It was like designed with complete freedom, and then they took it out. It wasn't designed like, oh, I can do this, right? But now I'm just thinking about just like the like I don't know like role playing mechanics, and I don't know if Assassin's Creed is that invested when it comes to role playing.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
They
I don't think
tried
they need
in
to. Yeah,
Odyssey and Valhalla, but
yeah.
uh,
We need to get away from those because that's what I really think about is like the dialogue trees, right? And like having a voiced character, right? And like having freedom with like your character. And I just don't think that they do it right. I don't think Horizon really did it right, And maybe that's part of why I couldn't get into it immediately because it's like too RPG of a mechanic for like a game that's like not an RPG,
yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
And I think that you hate it too in Uncharted, right? Uncharted 4, with like the
It's
dialogue
fine. It's just
branch.
pointless, and I feel like that's what it is. Ultimately, that's what
What
you're getting at
am
with
I
these. It's
doing?
like you have these choices, but ultimately, what do these
Yeah,
really do to change it? It's like either you hop off the porch with it and go all the way, or you just don't include them. I can definitely agree with
yeah.
that because it's like it
And
doesn't
it's
do
Telltale, man.
anything for the game. I honestly forget that Uncharted 4 has those choices until I like played
Yeah,
the game again. I'm like, oh yeah,
yeah.
I guess I'll just pick one.
Just pick
It doesn't
the
matter. It
pick
doesn't
the
change
silent
anything.
option. Yeah.
Silence is a valid option.
Elena's
That's
gonna
what
react
Telltale
the same way.
taught me.
Yeah, she's just gonna react the same way. Regardless, she's still gonna get mad, and
Right.
Drake's still
Exactly.
gonna get busted. But no, man, if they want to go all out with their next Assassin's Creed, make it memorable. Make the side quests memorable, right? Have relationship uh options. I know they had them in the other ones, but let's
Yeah.
be real,
Make them more
they were
involved.
really cheap. They were really cheesy, kind of just
Yeah.
like I love you. Okay, let's be together.
Oh,
Very like
let's. Oh,
PlayStation 2.
you wanna make love? Let's go. And then you make love for a few seconds, and then it's like, you want to do it again? Yeah. That's
Thank
like,
you. So natural, right? Such a natural interaction between humans. I love how like you can see the logic, like you can just see like like charisma like unfall out, where you're like, oh, you have Riz, okay, let's go. It's just like okay.
right.
I wish it was that. I wish it was that like simple, man, but no. It's not. You gotta like do the put in the work, man. You gotta make sure the systems make sense, and I'm invested, right? Ghost wasn't perfect, right? But I still feel like they tried to write like plot like side quests that were like, man, that guy died, and I actually kind of feel bad, you know. And I
Yeah.
never feel that with Assassin's Creed, man. You're always like
Yeah. Yeah.
counting the doves, or you're never doing shit for people. You're always like doing checklist stuff.
Fetch quests and stuff. Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing crazy.
but we'll see, man.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We're gonna get his announcement soon.
Soon.
For
Yeah.
some
Definitely.
reason, these
Probably in
leaks
the
have been
summer.
coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason Hexe had this leak right now, so you
Yeah,
just keep an
man.
eye out.
All right, we're gonna stick with Ubisoft and talk about Watch Dogs for a second.
All right, sounds
Series
good.
is dead.
Yeah, I'm sorry
uh,
to hear. I know that
you
must hurt, man.
you didn't. You said you didn't get into them, right? Those games.
No, to it. It just wasn't like
I feel like you would vibe. I know you feel betrayed, man. I know, but like I feel like you would vibe with the first one at least. I feel like you would at
the
least probably
first
vibe
Watch
with
Dog.
that. Yeah. I feel like you would like Aiden.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I can connect to like a outsider, like rebellious, like us, like disconnected. No, I'm playing. I feel like if there's one that I'm gonna try, it would be the second one, right? Isn't that the one that you said was good, man?
I like the second one. I was just saying for in terms of you, I feel like you would probably vibe with the first game.
It would,
I feel like you would like two as well, but
do you think it's better plot wise? Like, what do you think is actually more when you played them both? Your experience.
Funny enough, Watch Dogs is one of those. I've only beat those games once. As much as I've played them multiple times, but I've only ever played through them in its entirety one time. I've played through the first Watch Dogs one time. I've played through Watch Dogs 2 one time. Watch Dogs Legion one time. And like I said, I've revisited these games, but I've only ever actually played them front to back, cover to cover, one time. And that's rare for me, because usually when I really like a game, I'll have like replayed it multiple times. But that's like one where I'm just like, I've played through it. I'm kind of satisfied with that, because even when I go to replay it, they aren't the most replayable games. It's like, well, you get to a certain point where you're just kind of like, I've done this before.
Well,
I don't,
how big is like the second one, like the length?
It's. I feel like if you were really like beelining the story, right, it probably wouldn't take you very long to get through it. It's about, I don't know, I'm going to say it's probably over 20 hours maybe.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting. It is fun to play at least. But they don't have the most compelling stories or characters or anything. And I mean, as much as I say that, I really like Marcus, right? The guy from the second game. Mostly because like I identify with him as like a black nerd hipster dude. It's like I don't have many video game characters where I can look at them and like I can legitimately see myself in you. And Marcus is like probably like one of the only ones. And so I do really like Marcus Holloway as a main character, and the setting too, like the Bay Area and stuff like that is really cool. But overall, I think the game is like fine.
Where does it take place? Like Florida?
California. It's in the Bay Area.
Oh my bad. I don't know. I thought of the Bay in Miami. No, man. That I feel like his character? He's like you said he's kind of nerdy. So he's not. Is he kind of? He's not really serious like the first one, but he's not.
Yeah,
he
has his moments, but for the most part, this game. It has a tonal shift from the first game, that's for sure. Because I feel like a lot of people complained about Aiden being like all serious and like stuff like that and boring, and then they were like, all right, let's overcorrect and just make it about a bunch of hipsters who are like bump the man and like I don't know. It's like it has its fun moments, but sometimes it's just kind of cringy, and you're like. But
what's it like in the plot
for the second one?
Yeah, for Marcus, like what's the character's motivation?
Basically,
he was like
the CTOS system screws him over. Like it basically pins a crime on him that he never committed. Because it's like how the CTOS does that probability, like they're about to do this crime, type thing, and basically it pins him for a crime he didn't commit, so he ends up having to do community service, and so he basically is like, man, screw this, I'm gonna stand up against the man, and like he joins the hacker group Dead Sick, and they basically, you're going through the game working to take down CTOS, essentially pretty much the same thing that Aiden was doing, just in a different way.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like literally the same things, but better implemented, smoother gameplay.
Yeah, it's very different too, because Aiden in the first game is very much like a lone wolf. Yeah, like you have like allies, but for the most part, it's like he's like a vigilante, like outsider, like you were saying, and like and Watch Dogs 2 is very much, it has like more of a group dynamic where like, you know,
we're a team, we're going to do this together.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that the character was really interesting. You know, that they try to go on that route after the first game. They probably did that because of the first game is super. You know, I don't know. I feel like I heard a lot of things about they didn't like the first guy.
But yeah, which I think Aiden's fine. I think Aiden's kind of cool. I don't really have a problem with Aiden.
Yeah, I think that's really just people, because this probably came out when there's a lot of like protagonists that are similar. They're just like, we need something different. Because like Kratos, he's really like, you know, he's super quiet all the time. But I think that for this thing, they were just like, we need that. And I just remember there's such a different contrast between those games. And, you know, now that with GTA coming out, you know, and they released this, it's just like, you know, we don't want to say goodbye to this, you know, franchise. You know, we tried, and, you know, some of it works, you know, some of it didn't. But I don't know, man. I feel like even though this franchise is dead, it has ideas that we're going to see, and people are going to grab things from this game, because it still was unique enough, I think, to stand out. Like, oh, it's not a hacker GTA, and people automatically know that you're talking about Watch Dogs, you know?
Right.
So I think there's still something they can do there. Kind of like with Shadows of Mordor and the Nemesis system, there's still like really cool things you can do.
Yeah. So you do you think this is legitimate, or I was watching the Friday, I believe it was Friday news show that like Game Ranks does, and the guy who does Jake Baldino, he was like, he thinks it's more likely that Watch Dogs is on ice than it actually is like dead. And I'm like, that's possible, because I feel like I could definitely see them 10 plus years from now being like, oh, here's another Watch Dogs game. Which is
that's
possible,
fine if you're a diehard, then I feel for them to hear that. But for us, I'm okay with that. In 10 years, we could probably see like technology be good enough that we actually have reason to be hyped for this game. You know what I mean?
Maybe like, they'll actually put out what they what they promised in the initial demo.
Oh, yeah, things that we're lying to us about. You know?
I don't feel any type of way about this. I enjoy those games. I played all three, enjoyed them thoroughly, but after Legion, I was just like, I don't really feel, I'm not like, oh, I need more Watch Dogs. I would have preferred a more straight up like story versus like, oh, play as anybody kind of deal. I would have preferred like an actual like set character, which I would love to see that again from Watch Dogs, but if we don't get it, that's fine. Watch Dogs to me isn't like this. It isn't like this staple series for me. You know, as much as I enjoy it, it's not like I could. Like someone could come in and grab all three of my copies of the Watch Dogs games off my shelf and just take it and never return it, and I'll be fine. I'll be fine never touching those games again. It's okay.
It's like GTA is a threat to games that aren't even in the same genre. So it's like, you can what happened there.
Yeah, but I just thought it was interesting. But hey, I mean, we'll more than likely see another Watch Dogs game. It probably just will be a while.
Maybe it'll be about Marcus, man. You can't keep making or maybe it'll be
back.
Maybe we go about Aiden and Marcus would do like a
they team up or something.
Spider-Man 2 type switch off between two characters.
No, I doubt it, but we know how Ubisoft is. They don't like to bring back characters. Bro.
Yeah, it's true. They don't like.
No, I was kidding. This is like
We gotta make.
the Bag on Ubisoft podcast. Oh man,
Yeah,
dude, this X-Men '97 Xbox, man, that's pretty cool.
I don't know if it's a wrapper around it. I think it's not because there's like a disc slot you can see, but I gotta get an Xbox just to get that, man. I'm telling you.
And just have it sit on your shelf.
Yep. Just have it there. Never play it. Never touch it, man. I don't know. Maybe I get Starfield. Probably not, but yeah, I'll probably sell that in a couple of years when it's a lot more expensive.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely be worth something after a while. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll? Because you're on deck, you're on PlayStation, Nintendo. Wait, do you have a Switch, right? Or do you?
I do have Switch.
Yeah. So like, I feel like you're chilling, man. You don't really have much reason to cop an Xbox right now.
Not really, man. No. Unless these like rumors about exclusives coming to the Xbox are true. And even then, man, it's gonna be a while till like Elder Scrolls. So still just waiting, man. I don't need to, you know.
Or like Fable, but I mean that stuff is like that's coming to PC, right? Or is it actually gonna be like a legit Xbox exclusive?
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, I might just get a PC. Like, man, you can help me build one, you know, or something like that. And yeah, how did you get your setup?
I've never built a PC a day in my life. I have a gaming laptop. That's my PC. My girlfriend has a PC, but she brought hers pre-built.
Oh yeah,
So
what does she play?
She got it mostly for like Sims and like Genshin and stuff like that. But
yeah, no, is your laptop powerful enough to run like Elder Scrolls 6?
I doubt it. I've only played a couple games. I played like Black Mesa and I wanted to start up the Stalker series on here, but I haven't really messed around much with it.
Yeah, the Steam Deck.
It's a powerful thing, though. It is pretty powerful.
The Steam Deck can run PS4 games like up to the basically really high a really good quality. Like, you can play Days Gone. They have that on the store. They promote. Dude, yeah, it's deck.
You're making me want to get a deck, man.
I thought about getting that.
If I get a deck, I can play Ocarina, bro.
Yeah, Ocarina. There's something else I was like, man. I was playing I was playing the Wolverine game that I was showing you guys. It's very brutal, cutting stuff up, man. But I'm trying to think what else. I was doing remote play on there. You don't need a portal. It ran really well. I was like playing my PS5 on there, so I wanted to watch TV on the screen. I was like, yo, I gotta show this to Eric, man. He could play like Spider-Man 2 on his Steam Deck, you know. So you're doing all these extra things, and then you can do remote play on top of that.
Whenever I have the funds, it might be an investment I might have to make. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, man. Or just get the Switch too, man. Might be even more crazy.
Maybe once they announce the Switch 2 and they announce that new and improved Mario game, bro, I might have to.
Mario unlocked, dude. Mario on remaster
Super
edition.
Mario Galaxy 3, bro.
Yeah, Galaxy 3, like unlocked, uncaged, 5th edition, all DLC unlocked from the get-go. Season pass not included. No, I'm fine.
The Super Mario Bros. Movie, the game. They're gonna go crazy with that, bro.
This shit's gonna be alive as fuck.
All right, one more topic. This is an interesting one. This is gonna be more of a speculative corner here. But Naughty Dog teases next project which promises groundbreaking visual quality, quote unquote. Which, I mean, that's kind of a given if it's Naughty Dog, but
just say it.
I'm thinking this is I mean, we all know that they're working on stuff, or they better after canceling Factions.
Yeah,
we know they're working on something. I'm imagining it's a new IP because we know it's not Uncharted. If they Naughty Dog's done with that. We know it's probably not Last of Us Part 3. We know that's probably being worked on in early stages right now, but they've been working on something since Last of Us 2, even before then. So like, what have they been working on? it's got to be something new because I don't think it's anything Jack and Daxter related. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
They said
yeah,
they said it was
I
new.
think it's something new. I think it's. I mean, they didn't say. It was more like Naughty Dog just said their next project. They were very vague. But
That's pretty dope.
I'm thinking it's something. It's a new IP. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's a new IP too. I think that it's about time. They're like, man, we got this franchise, that, but I mean, look at Kojima. I mean, he's trying out here to, spread his wings. We got to spread ours. We can't just be known for these games forever. We got to like create a new one. We got to take advantage of this tech, man. I'm excited to hear what that means.
Next Naughty Dog game on the PS6, baby. Let's go.
What else could they come up? What else could they do? We know they've done platformers. They've done sort of stealth and survival. A shooter?
I kind of want to. I don't. I kind of want another adventure game by them. Like maybe not quite like Uncharted, but like I don't know, or maybe something historical. I think something historical would be cool.
I would like a new Jack and Daxter a lot, dude, or just a remake of 2. That would be dope as hell to me, man.
That'll be Blue Point or
yeah, that's true.
The ones that do all the remakes are, but
I don't know, man. It's either like a
weren't there rumors of like Naughty Dog doing like a period piece a few years ago or something like that? Or maybe
I don't know, but that could be.
Somebody said they would like to try that. If they made a period piece, that'd be kind of fire.
What century? What?
I have no idea. I would take anything. I'm thinking like probably like
not samurais, please, bro.
I'm thinking maybe like 19th century or something like that. Maybe like
we can't have Red Dead. We can't have another Red Dead.
Oh, true. Well, I don't know, man. I'm just thinking of like what time period would like graphically would be like just a showcase. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I don't know what they could do. There's nothing that I can think of that's not like because we say like adventure. I'll just think of Jack and Daxter. Yeah, that's all that I'm thinking about. They got like
I'm thinking that too, but I'm also like I'm trying to think of something new they could do.
I don't know. That's the thing. Is like I don't know, man. Is it a shooter? Like a Naughty Dog first person shooter?
If Naughty Dog puts out a first person shooter, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be pissed.
Yeah,
I mean it's like fine, but like
like BioShock.
I'm
Naughty Dog's right.
We're saturated with first person shooters. I'm gonna be honest. Like the gaming industry has a lot of those. Naughty Dog specializes in what I love most, and that's like third person. Like
Neil Druckmann
games.
No, that's for you, dude. Just trust Neil. Trust the drug.
In Neil we trust. Yeah, I mean. Neil Druckmann is probably effing off writing Last of Us 3 or directing Last. He's doing something in Last of Us. I
have a surprise.
I don't know how involved he's going to be in.
He's like, I'm excited to announce partner shop.
The dude doesn't take breaks, bro.
Yeah, he's always on something. Now that he's involved.
Last of Us to Uncharted 4 to Last of Us 2 to who knows.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure it's going to be related to partnership with Call of Duty for the new Black Ops, Cold War, Modern Warfare 4.
Man, I am intrigued though. It is exciting, like the prospect. I know we talk junk about like Sony exclusives is dry. It's like nothing. The PS5 hasn't had anything and like all that stuff. But realistically, we know that these studios are working on things. We know that Naughty Dog's been working on stuff. We know Sucker Punch has been working on stuff. We know that we're gonna get games from them eventually. We know the development cycle has like increased. So it's like as much as it sucks, it feels like we're being starved of new games. When these games start coming out, I feel like in a couple years we're probably gonna get like. We look back at like 2016, 2017, around those times where like these exclusives were being pumped out and we were like getting these bangers. I feel like we're gonna get that again. It's just gonna take us longer to get there.
Yeah.
Like 2027 is probably gonna be a banger year for PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that this year is the year that PlayStation is gonna take a hit. If they have to take a hit, this is the year that we don't get a lot. It's gonna be dry. It's gonna be empty. I mean, we already have Rebirth, but
in terms of like bigger stuff, I think that was it. Rise of Ronin and Rebirth, but I think 2026 honestly is going to be pretty big. In 2025, we'll at least have one heavy hitter. I think Wolverine's coming in 2025, but
yeah, well,
and G5
wasn't that Venom game rumored for 2025? You think they would come out the same?
It might be, yeah, and I'm hyped for that. But that's going to be like if anything, that's like that would come out this year. I would tell them come out of that this year because it's not going to be big. It's going to be like a standalone mini sequel, I want to say, or what is it called? Like a DLC standalone.
Yeah, like
kind of like Miles.
Like half sequel is what they call them. Like
they're gonna do the Miles thing with the Venom.
They call them half sequels and glorified DLCs, which I mean,
glorified
not
DLC.
What they are, but
I mean, Miles was great, but it is obviously going to be more exciting because you're playing this freaking Venom. This is basically going to be like the closest we've gotten to like a modern Incredible Hulk game. Just
right.
Full destruction.
Dude, I was thinking that that whole Venom section, I was like, Insomniac, please make an Incredible Hulk game, please. Like that'd be incredible.
Yes, dude. Ultimate Destruction remade it would break PlayStation 5 because of how the physics of destruction of concrete hitting like the floor. It would be sick, man. I mean, those games are so many things about the Hulk. Was like the fist gloves. You can make your gloves. I don't know if you played Ultimate Destruction, but it's man.
I played one back in the day. I couldn't tell you what it was. I was just a kid, just wrecking shit though.
And just kill everybody, dude. Civilians, soldiers, everything. It's a glorious time, dude. Prototype is based off of that game.
Oh, really?
But those games are those games are a lot of fun too. But yeah, dude. Honestly, if it doesn't come out this year, if we don't get anything related to Spider-Man 2, that game's not going to be remembered as well. It'll be.
We're not getting anything this year. We're not getting anything.
I guarantee like another year we're going to start seeing those YouTube videos of like Spider-Man 2 overrated ? Like Spider-Man 2 not what we thought. I guarantee you.
Not as good as we don't remember.
Yeah, but you're bringing it on yourselves, man, because it's true, dude. I bought this game expecting it to be more, and if not that, I was like, okay, there's probably gonna be some DLC news or some update. I'm fine with that.
I mean, we're gonna get DLC. They set up DLC in the game. You know what I mean?
But still, I don't feel like we've gotten anything yet, man. Shouldn't we have something by now, right? There's got to be.
I don't know.
Something.
When did that the City That Never Sleeps or whatever that stuff come
That's
out?
what I was just thinking. I
can't remember how long that took to come out. I also didn't really vibe with those DLCs. I'm gonna be honest.
They were fun.
I tried to replay the first one, the heist, and I was like, this is boring. This is actually legitimately boring. And the only one I kind of vibe with was the Sable one, the Silver Sable. I like that one, but
that one was hard. I think that's what I liked about.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, no, but that's why you could get away with it, because the first one felt so much more complete as a game, whereas this one just you can tell certain things that aren't in the game that should be in the game and they're not, and it's just not enough, Yeah,
I will say, but at the end of Spider-Man 2. As much as I was excited for the game and I played through the game and I enjoyed it, of course, at the end, those credits started rolling and I was like, I don't feel something feels off. Like, when you complete the first game, 2018, and you're like, that was a good story, start to finish, conclusive, and you're like, you feel satisfied at the end. You're like, that was great. And at the end of Spider-Man 2, you're like, that was also great, but also. That's it. Like we're at the end. I don't know. It felt off, man. I don't know. That whole game. Whenever I reflect on that game, I'm like, there
wasn't enough meat on my sandwich.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It pains me to say because I was really excited for that game, man. I was hyped.
But, and it was in development for a while too.
Yeah,
it wasn't like it came out right after the first one, like Assassin's Creed does or COD. It was like, oh, we're gonna wait a couple of years and then come out, and then it's still not.
Being honest with you, I feel like this was a better follow up to Miles Morales than the first game. You realize
this was,
even though Miles isn't even like he's like kind of a main character, but for the most part, most of Miles' missions are side missions anyway. If you really think about it. This is very much a Peter Peter game. This is very much a continuation to 2018, yet it feels like a better continuation to Miles Morales than to 2018. At least, like, now that I'm thinking about it. You know what I mean? It does so much more for Miles' character than Peter.
Yeah, and I do think that that's definitely. I mean, I remember we talked about this before, man. That was going to be a problem because Spider-Man 2, Miles is important, but you made a game for him. I was assuming that was going to lead to more like standalone games like Miles 2, which I would happily have consumed. But
yeah,
if you're going to have them both be in this, make it longer or just have a better like plan, because it just felt like sometimes it did take away from the story that I wanted, which was about the Venom, and symbiote, and I don't know. Sometimes it didn't, and sometimes it didn't do a service to Miles' character either, to like have him sidelined and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that honestly, the biggest distractor is like Mary Jane in the game. I feel like I don't know. A lot of her scenes were just they took away from the main parts of the game. I don't like to say that. I understand people like to say like, oh, it's important. It wasn't. We don't need to play as her, right? Just important story.
To be fair, I can understand people not liking playing as her, but something I've never understood is like there are people out there who are infuriated by the fact that we play as her. And
I'm like, chill out.
I said, I can understand not liking. I don't really care for her sexes that much, but the thing is, for one, if you don't play those games a lot, then you don't really have a reason to be that angry. But also, if you play those games a lot, then you can breeze through her sections. Like if I play like 2018, I can literally just be like, oh, Mary Jane section, just breeze through it, and I'm right back to Spider-Man. So it's like realistically, I feel like either way, you don't really have much of a reason to complain.
No, that's far more annoying to me than the actual playing through the segment. You know what I mean? Because I'm already done with this. People are still complaining.
Right.
To me, I'm just thinking about in terms of like overall delivery and like pacing and where this game could have, so we can shine these things more. I'm like, what would I sacrifice to get more of Miles interacting with Harry, right? Because there's like a whole thing that Venom said, I don't really know you.
There is kind of a disconnect there between Miles and Peter's storylines.
Yeah, and it's just like why? And it's like because there's not too much. We don't have enough time to do all these things that we want to do without messing up. It's like what could we clearly get rid of?
I felt like they could have made the game longer. The game isn't that long.
I think that they could make it longer. I think that there could have been twice as many side quests where like the helping strangers. I feel like we were genuinely robbed in terms of that. We were given like 4 or 5, wasn't at all. Like Red Dead or like GTA will give you way more of those kind of quality missions of helping strangers.
Right.
We could have done with 3 or 4 more of those and just made the game longer. I mean, if you really want us to play these segments, because I did play them again, and I was like, why can't I skip this? I don't want to do this. I don't want to play as MJ. I'm bored, right? Then just make the other parts of the game longer, right? Because I don't want it to detract from something I waited so long for, right? And you have so many different characters. I mean, like if you want to have us play as these different characters, at least make sure they have powers, right? Like Silk, Black Cat, you could have had her be a playable character, what happened to Felicia, and then you show like a side, like how they did Catwoman in Arkham City, and then they show you she was up to, and then you play as Miles and Peter solving her quests, and then it's over. It's like a fun little mini side quest where you get to play as another character. And I would think, man, they put so much thought.
It's not like they didn't do anything like that, because they did. They literally had like those flashback like parts with like Peter.
Yeah. And I was like, man, it was so funny too. We could have done with at least 2 more of those, because those were all hit every time. They were great.
Yeah,
like every time I was like, man, honestly, it was making me wish that we had a standalone prequel game with young Peter, because it was just so funny.
I know a lot of people despise like Spider-Man origin story these days. Like we don't want to see it. We all know the origin story, but I freaking love Spider-Man's origin story, and I'll see it over and over. I don't care. I'll read it in a comic book, watch it in a cartoon, see it on the big screen. I don't care. I love his origin story. It's so like pertinent to his character, and it's good. Like, I don't mind seeing it over and over again and seeing how like different people do it, because it's, I don't know, it's just like, it's great to me.
Yeah. I actually really like that you say that because I feel like people usually don't share that, and I'm kind of the same way. But I remember I was kind of upset when they said they weren't doing Uncle Ben anymore with the new ones because I'm like, come on, man, Uncle Ben, you can't, it's so important, Spidey, man. You know, I get it with Alfred with Batman's parents, right? That's just annoying. There's too many.
Yeah.
There really are, dude. You go on YouTube, there's like the Gotham TV show, freaking had one, dude. Like, what the hell? But like, Spidey, there's only like 3, and Tom Holland's definitely feels like something's missing because of that, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that
Definitely.
part of why I don't care about him at all is because he didn't like. Do you care about your uncle at all, dude? You ungrateful shit. That's what I'm thinking in the back of my head, dude. Like, what's this dude's deal, man?
It also doesn't feel like he. Yes, he had an origin story, right? The MCU's origin story was the trilogy, the home trilogy. That was their quote unquote origin story, which is fine. And once I kind of came to accept that, because I used to not like the MCU Spider-Man movies, but once I came to kind of accept what they were doing with them, I was like, okay, I mean, I guess that's fine. But also, like you're right, there is this weird disconnect. It's kind of like, and I know like Aunt May kind of serves as the Aunt Ben giving the whole great responsibility thing. That's cool. I did kind of like that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's like it almost feels like that version of Spider-Man at the end of No Way Home when he like makes his suit and he jumps out the window and stuff like that. I'm like, yes, like this is the Spider-Man I like.
Yeah.
But it just sucks everything he had to go through to get that. And I know he goes through a lot in general to become Spider-Man, but like I just feel like they did a lot with him in the MCU to get him to that point where you didn't need to do that. His uncle dying and like all the like those different things, that's good enough to make him to encourage him to put on that suit and do good.
Yeah,
that's good enough.
Dude, literally, you're like you listen to what you're saying. It's literally just like with Basim, man. Like these, like that's the whole thing. These aren't. You're taking away what is like Peter's whole thing is like it's so relatable because it's so real. It's so real. It's so sudden and harsh and
Peter's all of us, man.
It can happen. It can literally happen to anybody. Like you can lose somebody you love just like that. That happens. People get killed and they get mugged, and it's real world's ugly. And I mean, Aunt May dies because Green Goblin is just some old dude from another alternate reality on a freaking glider. It's like it's impactful, but it's not. It's just not going to resonate the same because it's just not relatable. That's why I feel like the Tobey films are always like that because they're like biblical in almost the way that they have these quotes that are so quotable. Like in like you're going to hear that and like someone's going to say that and they're not going to remember where they heard it from, right? Or great power comes great responsibility, right? It's so beautiful because it's so true. And I mean, you have that like reality mixed in, and it's just like so bittersweet. And I know that they're relatable in like the high school awkwardness, like we're cute and in love, right?
Stuff. It's surface level relatability.
Exactly. That's what they have, and it's not like that real stuff. Like, man, I feel like that's the conversation between me and my dad, right? And not just because my dad reminds me a lot of Uncle Ben, kind of like he does have a lot of that energy of like he's just like your blue collar, like a worker, but he's got a good heart. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's a conversation I could have. I could see myself acting like a little shit like that, like Toby's Peter was, where he's just like, you don't know, you're not my dad, right. Just being a dick. But it was just like, Dan, I gotta watch. I mean, I did look at it on YouTube. You can find like the comparison clips. And it's just like, damn, you can just see, like, even like definitely between at least the Garfield one and Maguire, like the death, man. Rest in peace, Uncle Ben, man.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you brought that up about like the relatability thing because I think that's why I vibe so much with Tobey. Like if we're talking about movies, right? Like, but Tobey's like my favorite. I love those movies mostly because of that level of relatable, and even like the character in general, like why I fell in love with Spider-Man. I feel like especially as I've gotten older and come to appreciate this part of the character more, is that Spider-Man is literally all of us, bro. And like beyond like because Spider-Verse highlights this, but before then, this is something that I always like felt. It's like Spider-Man is one of the few superheroes that is covered from head to toe. You know why? Because literally anybody could be behind that mask.
Yeah.
Like anybody, bro. And it's like that's the thing. It's like Spider-Man should have that relatability that's beyond surface level. Like you should be able to see yourself in that suit, being that hero, and you can literally do that in your daily life. You can be Spider-Man, but I feel like with the MCU, like it kind of loses that. Like I feel out of touch with that character because of where he started. We didn't see that origin story. We didn't see that kid, that nerdy kid from Queens getting bit by that spider. We didn't get to see that, and I feel like that's so important. And you know, like I said, I just I don't hate the MCU Spider-Man, but there is like I do feel kind of like disconnected from it in comparison to Toby and even Andrew. You know.
And we're not going to get it, dude. I don't think we're going to get it anymore because they're only moving forward, which I'm happy with. But yeah, that was like
which is fine. I've come to terms with that. I've accepted that the MCU Spider-Man just isn't what I typically look for in Spider-Man. But we have plenty of other iterations that give me that.
It is frustrating though because, like, yeah, man, they said that the whole time. High school, what Peter's life. There was only one film where he was in the high school, man, and then the freaking second one, he goes on a trip, and then the third one's not even it's like it's a low-key an Avengers film, or it feels like a Avengers Endgame like event. Just like we don't have time for high school, and this one we're trying to like save like Peter's identity, you know.
I feel like in the MCU too, like that boots on the ground kind of hero is very, very important. It's so important because we get so caught up in the cosmic stuff and the world level threats, and like it's just like that's great. We have Avengers for that. That's cool. What I want to focus on a hero who's in high school, who's like that, like the beginning of that movie where he's like literally your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I love that part. Hey, Spider-Man, do a flip, you know, like stuff like that. That's awesome. Like that's the type of stuff I would have minded a whole movie like that. Like that's like I don't need everything to be like this huge. You know, I don't need Iron Man to come in. I don't need all this Stark tech. I don't like. I just feel like the simplicity of certain things. It just works well for me.
Don't make it hard.
I'm a minimalist, dude. It doesn't take a lot to like make me happy.
Yeah, man. Same here.
But yeah, man, that was a pretty. I don't know how we got to there from. What were we talking about? Naughty Dog. But hey, we love talking about Spider-Man on this podcast. Yeah, real time podcast. We're advocates for Spider-Man, bro.
Yes. Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed.
Exactly. Man, I had a question I wanted to ask, but like, I wanted to be with the three of us. I wanted Boyce to be here too. So since he's not here, I think I'm just gonna hold off on it.
Okay.
So we can just wrap this up. I feel like we've had a pretty dang good conversation. To us, the double E episode.
Yeah. Q&E, man. Eric and Q.
Yeah, Q&E.
Questions and evaluations. Yeah, that works. No, we'll figure it out.
No, man, I had a blast, man. This was fun. Yeah. I feel like this episode, I got to geek out and just rant about a bunch of stuff.
You definitely had a feeling about this Assassin's Creed news, man. I appreciate it. We definitely kind of things to be heard by Ubisoft.
Right. But yeah, man. Real Time Podcast, episode 5. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yes, sir.